Say the document. Give them a couple of days and then just lock in, make a quarterly payment or something, but, I wasn't able to log in yet, so. But I contacted all of them, I'll try. It's pretty much asking.
Over there.
It's just, waiting game. Okay. All right, so.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning, Commission. I understand the chair is going to be late, and the vice chair's called in, is not going to be in. So I was looking at the most senior member of tenure to fill in there until Morris arrives. If that. Where's my packet? No, I don't. Look who arrived. Couple of things we talked about the agenda. Item number 4.
Can I get an agenda?
I think they were talking about doing something with the session.
Evidently not, I guess. I don't know. Let me see.
Okay. Okay. All right. Are we ready? You good? Okay, let's call to order the Pinal County Planning and Zoning meeting for Thursday, November 20th, 2025. There was discussion about executive session or something. So let's, while we're doing that, let's can we stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And roll call.
Yes. Chairman Meninga
Yes.
here. Vice Chair Globe called in and will not be attending. Member Hartman here.
Here.
Member Keller.
Here.
Member Lizarraga.
Here.
Member Steph.
Present.
Member Davia, I think he's online.
Here.
Member Mooney.
Here.
Member Peranzo.
Here.
Member Scott.
Here.
Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Okay,
So
discussion on executive session that you were having?
yes, if you wish to go into an executive session, one item I do want to talk about first is the work session that was on item number 4. Based on advice from council, it's inartfully worded, and I'm asking that we not consider that, take that off the agenda this morning.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, that would do that's on the agenda.
Okay.
But there was obviously an issue with the packet, and some members did not get the link. I think most of you did not get the link, unfortunately. So if you wish to talk about, the information, whether we have adequate information, the attorney tells me that would be a legitimate item for executive session if somebody wants to make a motion.
Yeah, and if I may ask, how does the commission feel about, I mean, are we okay? Does everybody feel like they can move forward with what we have? I mean, I'm okay That's what I've got, okay, and I looked at.
One,
I'm just used to having the information. I read through it.
you want to,
The abbreviated one and what the.
And what the true information is sometimes isn't really clarified or complete.
1 second. Go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize, Chair, Vice Chair. I was just looking at item number 4. Even though that matter will be removed apparently from the agenda, I was just consulting with counsel who has that matter today to make sure he was aware of that, and he is.
And I was, we will do that in December, but I will be the presenter for that information prior to, there was a project. Let me just give you a little bit of background on that. I think some of the commission members have previously asked for, when we have a development, they like to see the big picture and how it works, how it, in context with the other projects that have been approved in the region. I think that's an important and reasonable request, and we wanted to present that. The developer made the request that he wanted to present that. He has another project coming forward at Sienna. That's, I believe, scheduled for December 18th, P&Z. So instead of having that reviewed at the same meeting, it was, I thought it would be advantageous to give the commission some context of how that one fits in with the overall developments that have occurred, that have been approved in the area, and not be rushed and make a decision. So we divided it up. However, due to the agenda, it's inartfully worded. I think it's probably best that it comes from staff, and we'll do that in December before you consider that particular project. So that's the genesis for why it was on the agenda. There was also concerns, there are public concerns that the emails, the BOS, there were presentations saying they didn't feel like it was appropriate for the developer to make that presentation. And for primarily because the item was not worded properly, so it didn't have public notice. We feel like we should take it off. And I did notify those individuals so they wouldn't make the drive to Florence. That was the purpose in me notifying. If perhaps I should have notified everybody on the commission, but you were going to come to Florence anyways. I thought that was the reason.
Okay.
So with that said,
Okay. Well, sounds like we can defer to December with this then, and it's because I want to move on. We've got a good crowd here. Okay, sounds great. All right, let's move forward. First case, there's a couple cases. I think there's 2 or 3 of these tied together, 2 of them tied together, or 3 tied together. Is a tentative plat?
Wait, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session and discuss the information that we didn't receive
Okay.
and to get some guidance on what's appropriate.
Okay.
And Chair, Vice Chair, members of the commission, just to make sure, the motion would be to enter into executive session pursuant to ARS 38431.03A3. I would just ask that the commission identify the matters on the agenda that we're going to executive session to discuss. If they're all the matters, then they're all the matters. I just need to know what items we're going into executive session for legal advice on.
Okay, we got a motion for executive session. Do we have a second?
Second.
And
Second.
what matters are we going into executive session on? That would be my request, is that if it's all matters on the agenda, I would just ask that be part of the motion so that it's clear for the record. The purpose for legal advice would be with respect to an item on the agenda, and so we just need to identify what item or items those are.
Okay, I have them. I'll read them to you. Okay, first one, PZ-043-22, SUP-016-25, PZ-PA-005-25, PZ-016-25, and PZ-PD-010-25.
There's 5 of them. Okay. that it?
You good?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay.
Just to make sure there was a second on that motion, correct?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, it was. All right, we're gonna take a quick, short executive session here and get back out here to business. So, thank you.
I don't need that thing.
Okay, thank you for your patience. We appreciate that. I know you didn't show up for that, but, all right, we'll start moving forward. Okay, attended plats. They're the first three cases, S006-23, S007-23, and S00823 are basically combined cases, what they are. So, staff, go for it.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. I'll start with the case S006-23 Bella Vista 23 East. It's a tentative plat for I'm sorry. It's a proposal requesting the approval of a tentative plat for Bella Vista 23 East, 575 lots on 145 acres. It is zoned R7 with a PAD under the case PZ-043-22 and the PZPD 048-21. It is located west of Quail Run Lane and north of Judd Road in the Santan Valley area. This will be the incorporated area. It's approximately 145 acres with 575 lots. The proposed landowner is W Holdings and the engineering group is EPS. Sorry. I need glasses, I guess. This is the general location within the county. The zoning is the R7 with a PAD. The R7 is single family, but the PAD allows it some leeway in the lot sizes. All right. Location and vicinity maps. I think these new batteries. Please. This is the overhead satellite picture of the location of this plat. This is the tentative plat, which was included in the executive report. You can see there's going to be two access points. The three tentative plats is the north, the middle one, which is this one, and the south one, and they're all going to connect to two access points to Quail Run and Judd Road, but Judd Road is going to be improving the half street. They came in with a fourth tentative plat, which is the one on the south west corner, but that's under review still, so they'll come in there. So the access to Judd Road is tied to that one, which is the 009. Please, next one, next slide. Next slide. Next slide, please. The access road, next slide. Let me try now. Thank you. The cross sections, and I remember last time there was a question about the local streets and the cross section of the local streets. And then after investigating what was the basis of the question was the width and would the emergency service trucks, vehicles be able to maneuver that width? And the answer is that yes, it would, because it does leave the 12, actually it leaves about 15 feet between parked cars and the total width of the street. The total width is 32 feet with SUVs per designs is about 7 feet, 8 foot on each side, 16 feet leaves you with a 16, with a curb gives you with 15, and the emergency vehicle, a fire truck, is 10 foot wide per their manufacturers. This is 10 foot wide. Typically, any lane that we have is 12 feet. So we have 15 feet, so it should be able to maneuver in there. The zoning tables, this is looking west. And this is where the construction is going to be, or the development will be. East is already developed, and that's Quail Run. This is north and south. So our finding were that the request meets the county requirements, and if the commission approves it, here's a motion that we're proposing for the approval in there. Any questions on this one?
Any questions on the commission? Okay. The applicant?
Hello there. Good
Name
morning.
and address and signed in.
Okay.
You know the drill.
Okay. Hello. My name is David Hughes, and I'm with EPS Group, 1130 North Alma School Road, Mesa, Arizona. I'm here representing W Holdings for the 3 tentative plat cases. First, I'd like to thank staff for all their assistance through the tentative plat process and the presentation, which provided a great summary of the project. I'd like to also thank the commission for hearing our cases today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, we'll come back to the commission. There's no public hearing involved with tentative plats, are there?
That is correct, Chairman.
Okay, all right. Well, we've kind of looked everything over and like another large development in Santan Valley. Nothing new. Anyway, any questions from the staff or motions? Commissioner Hartman.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve findings 1 through 7 as set forth in the staff report and approve the tentative plat and planning case S-006-23 with the 4 stipulations as presented in the staff report.
Second?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We did ask for the opposed.
Opposed?
I need to refrain from voting because I didn't receive any information on this proposal, so I'm not educated enough to make a decision.
Okay, I understand. Next one. Can we move on to the next petition? Commissioner Mooney? That's 007 right there.
Does it say the stipulation?
How many steps are on 007?
Four. They all have the same stipulations. Yeah.
Right.
We deleted one.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we recommend approval to the Board of Supervisors for S-007-23 with the stipulations as presented.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And again, I need to abstain from voting.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Supervisors for S-008-23 with the stipulations as presented by staff.
Second.
Second. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Again, I'll abstain from voting, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bet. All right, let's see, case number 4, we're moving past new cases. First new cases is PZ-C001-25, accessory dwelling units. Lord, we spent enough time on this thing. Staff, that's you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sangeeta Devkar, Planning Supervisor, presenting this text amendment, which is a PZC-001-25. This is for the accessory dwelling unit. and it's a text amendment to the code. Section 2.150.240, which is currently stated as guest house casita, to retitle the section to accessory dwelling units and related to expanding opportunities for the ADUs in residential zoning districts. Location is across the whole county. Just to give a background on this, on May 23rd, 2025, the House Bill 2928 was signed by the governor, Arizona revised statutes that regulates accessory dwelling units statewide under Title 11 counties. Staff is requesting to update its code to align with the new state regulations, which is ARS Section 11-81 and this is a new section. For this code update, just to give you an overview of the schedule, basically we had this publication that was completed as per state statutes and as per the code. We also had an informational sharing open house at the Development Services Building, ensuring that the 15-day period prior to the Planning and Zoning Commission, we have property owners, whoever is interested, would come and talk if they have any questions, comments, or concerns. Today is going to be the first public hearing for this case for the text amendment, and then we have the December that has the Board of Supervisors hearing, and we would be that would be the final decision on 10th December. Basically, this proposal is sharing a draft with you. I hope you had the chance to go over this draft for accessory dwelling units. What's highlighted on this is basically directly from the ARS state statutes. What is not highlighted is what we have added, and I will go over those definitions for the commission. So basically, the definition of accessory dwelling units, or ADU, means a self-contained living unit that is on the same lot or parcel as a single-family dwelling of greater square footage than the accessory dwelling unit, that includes its own sleeping and sanitation facilities, and that may include its own kitchen facilities. Gross floor area, as defined, means the interior habitable area for a single-family dwelling or accessory dwelling unit. The permitted use means the ability for the development to be approved without requiring a public hearing, a variance, conditional use permit, special permit, or special exceptions other than a discretionary zoning action to determine that a site plan conforms with the applicable zoning regulations. The permitted uses for dwelling units for each lot or parcel may have the following. One single family dwelling unit, which is a primary use, is required. One attached and one detached ADU as permitted use for a lot or parcel that is less than 1 acre in size, and one additional detached ADU as permitted use on a lot or parcel that is 1 acre or more in size. In addition to the requirements of the specific zone, ADUs are subject to the following additional requirements. The minimum development standards, as directly taken from the ARS, is minimum rear and side setbacks shall be 5 feet from the property line. Restrictions for ADUs will be the same as those for single-family dwellings within the same zoning area with regard to height, front setbacks, lot size or coverage, or building frontage. And for detached ADUs, the minimum distance from the main building shall be 7 feet. For lots or parcels less than 1 acre in size, ADUs shall have no larger than 75% of the gross floor area of the dwelling on the same lot or parcel, or 1,000 square feet, whichever is less. For lots or parcels 1 acre or more in size, ADUs shall be no larger than 75% of the gross livable area of the main single family dwelling on the same lot or parcel, or 1,500 square feet, whichever is less. uh, shall use the same street access that serves the single-family dwelling. The ADU and the single-family dwelling shall not be served by separate utility meters. Shall be minimum of 200 square feet. Shall have a separate exterior entrance from the single-family dwelling. The ADU and a single-family dwelling shall not be physically addressed separately. However, ADUs must have separate unit house numbers. A manufactured home, mobile home, recreation vehicle, or park model trailer shall not be used as ADU except as otherwise allowed under ARS 11-820.03. The next two are directly again from the ARS state statutes. May not be built on top of a current or planned public utility easement unless the property owner receives written consent from any utility that is currently using the public utility easement or that may use the public utility easement in the future. This section does not supersede applicable building codes, fire codes, sensitive environmental area regulations, wildfire prevention regulations, emergency vehicle access regulations, drainage and flood control regulations, or public health and safety regulations, except that a county may not require an ADU to comply with commercial building code or contain fire sprinklers. This section does not apply to lots or parcels that are located on tribal land, land that is in the territory in the vicinity of military, airport, or ancillary military facility, or property that is in high noise or accident potential zone as defined in the ARS code 28-8461, and the land that is in the territory in the vicinity of a Federal Aviation Administration commercially licensed airport or a general aviation airport, or land that is in the territory in the vicinity of a public airport as defined in the ARS number 28-8486, and that has noise level or greater than 65 decibels. I'm open for any questions, and this is a public hearing too, so.
Commission.
Sir.
Commissioner Mooney.
Sangeeta, if you would, could you just back up 2 slides? So what happened to letter L that's in the packet? If a new ADU will not be connected to a sewer system, or if the sewer system lacks capacity to serve the new ADU, the county will require any septic system that will be used to serve the ADU be adequately sized before the construction of the ADU. Was that just left off of the slide presentation, or has that been deleted?
No, that's an error, and if you want, I will read it out. The L has to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
you
sorry for
jumped,
that.
I was just making notes, so, okay.
No.
And then.
It's like screen captures because this has been edited with multiple people, and so I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. And if you could back up to one more. So the highlighted section for the minimum rear and side setbacks, are those numbers because of the new regulation, or is that the county's numbers, 5 feet, changed from 10?
That is ARS.
That's correct. Yep. Yep. Chairman and Commissioner Mooney, that 5 feet come directly from the state statute.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. That's it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner Smith.
Sangeeta, so from the last time that we had this before us and we saw nothing has changed from the previous iteration of the code update?
I think there have been multiple small edits that have been done, and therefore I was directly not involved in this, multiple iterations. But this is the final one, and we have Harvey, and I think even Darren has been involved in this process. So I'm open for any questions. Otherwise, I don't think there have been major changes.
I didn't see any
Yeah,
major
I
change.
just
I mean, I
wanted
went
to-
through extensively through the other one when we went through the process, and I didn't, just small.
Yes.
Just want to make that known, as
Right.
we go
No,
forward
that's-
with all
that's kinda what I
these
understood.
sections that we're going to be
Pretty much.
before us.
Harvey, you
Yeah.
gonna say something?
You mean a lot, the dwelling units? That was always the same.
So if that's the case.
It just has been a while since we had seen
Oh, I
these.
know. I'm
Yes.
kind of going through this. I'm
I got
racking
some
my brain.
comparison as
We're
well.
checking
and
right now.
So, all right,
I
let's,
do have another question. I'm sorry.
what's that?
I do have another question.
Okay, go for it.
This is for the county. However, Santan Valley is newly incorporated, but that doesn't take effect until July 1st. So could things be done in Santan Valley between now and July 1st?
I think so.
Yes, we would be administering, we administer the planning and zoning within Santan Valley. So this would apply to them as well.
Yeah.
And even after July 1.
Unless they
Correct.
set something forward?
Unless they amend it after July 1.
Take note, Mayor.
Likely the adoption and then the change.
There is certain minimum standards that Santan Valley would have to comply with. And there's certain things that are discretionary and some that are mandatory. And so they would have to comply with the mandatory aspects. They could also make it more relaxed and even permit more if they so desire.
Mhm.
But and they would be, the other issue that is important is cities and towns are governed by Title IX. Counties are governed by Title 11. So,
That would be
so it's somewhat, there's some differences there.
Sorry, I was just looking for like how that's going to, because this is all new to everyone with Santan just now becoming a town and where that would fall on some of these things going forward. So I do understand the county still oversees, but as to when that time change would happen.
Okay, let's open the public hearing portion for case PZ-C001-25. I have, Mr. Fuller, Mrs. Fuller here to speak. Signed up to speak. Hey, there we go. Go ahead. Nate, are you signed in? Oh, you're signed in. I got you. You're good. Name and address.
My name is Lori Fuller. I'm from Thunderbird Farms in South Maricopa. And I apologize, I came here not for this item, but since it's on the agenda, I thought I would
Speak right into the microphone.
would speak about it. I live in Thunderbird Farms, which is a rural area. And we love our life out in the rural area. And as a community, we have fought untold developments out there of up to 7 homes per acre. So I find this accessory dwelling unit code change wonderful, absolutely wonderful. It will give people in rural areas an opportunity to build supplementary and affordable housing as needed for them. This will be an organic and sensible way to increase density as people need it. This will provide housing for family members, grandmas, college students, relatives in an organic manner as landowners choose to develop more dwelling units. This is so much better than cramming up to 7 homes per acre all around us when we don't want it. This will cause give us credibility as 1.25 acre and larger acreage owners to meet the demand for affordable housing, because we want to meet the demand for affordable housing, not because developers are cramming 7 houses per acre right next to us. I support this wholeheartedly. Just one note, I know it's, oh, you guys can't change the 5-foot setback. That's a bit problematic. And I didn't notice in Sangeeta's presentation that where it says a park model is allowed on over 3 acres, I think that's also an ARS statute. Thank you.
The 5-foot setback comes from, so code and stuff are, okay. Anyone else to speak to this matter? Anyone at all? Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing portion for case PC-C-001-25. We've done a lot of work on this thing in the past. I assume this is what's gonna move forward for the final completion of the whole planning and zoning changes set forth. This really mirrors everything we did then, except for a few changes. I have some other comments on this. I'll keep those to myself. Anyway, okay. Motion, comments, Commissioner Mooney.
I move the Pinal County Planning and Zoning Commission motion for approval of case PZ-C-001-25, a proposed text amendment to the Pinal County Development Services Code, specifically section 2.150.240, guest house / casita, to retitle the section to accessory dwelling unit. And if Sangita would please read in section L that was left off the presentation.
Good idea.
Sure. So section L of the Pinal County Development Services Code for ADU amendment, L reads as, if a new ADU will not be connected to a sewer system, if the sewer system lacks capacity to serve the new ADU, the county will require that any septic system that will be used to serve the ADU will be adequately sized before the construction of the ADU.
I second.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Frank?
fantastic. And,
Yeah, Frank.
Frank, are you there?
Yes, I said aye.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, let's move on to SUP 016-25 staff.
Good morning, Chair, Commission members. My name is Valentin Panchenko, Senior Planner. I'm here to present to you case ACP 01625, Case Planner Glenn Beck. Here's a special use permit request to continue to operate a RV storage facility on the site slightly above 20 acres, located south of East Arizona Farms Road and Apollo Drive. The owner applicant, Brennan Ray of Raylo Firm, is present here today, and the owner is Christ the Victor Lutheran Church. This is a general location for the property. This is a case and zoning maps. SCP, they have a really mix of uses to the east with industrial and commercial uses with PAD, and CB1 commercial to the west of the property. This property is zoned as CB1 local commercial, and they operating church on this property that's allowed use. And this is aerial map, mail out maps. This is conceptual site plan, so it's slightly reorganized in the order, and the proposed RV storage will be located on the south of the portion of the parcel, when the church will be on the northern portion of the parcel. This is some pictures from the property, south, east, west. The major items for commission to consider: there is existing code compliance case for this property due to existing RV storage on site. RV storage is not allowed use for CB1, and the code enforcement case is currently pending the outcome of this SCP application. An applicant asking to allow this RV storage that was in operation since 2009, and there was no letter of opposition according to the latest information we got. And yeah, there's basically existing storage, and they want to use SUP provision when for SB1 there are such other uses seen by Planning and Zoning Commission appropriate for this location and in the interest of public can be allowed for this property. if the commission have any questions to the staff.
Any questions for the commission?
I have a question.
Yes.
Go for it.
Given that there's a church on the property, I'm assuming it's tax exempt. Now that they'll be running a business, will that tax exemption still be applied?
Not sure.
Are you, Frank, are you, Commissioner Davila, are you referring to the church's tax exempt status or the on-site, RV and boat storage?
Yeah, so the churches, right? Because it's a property owned by the church, which I'm assuming they don't pay taxes on, but yet they'll be running a business off of it, correct?
That's correct. I think they're primarily focused on their own members as a fundraiser. They use offering that to them, but I don't know whether they lose their tax exempt status with that with the RV storage.
Okay, thank
It
you.
is a commercial enterprise and they do.
I will comment that there's a very minor tax on rentals. It's like 2% is all it is. So there's not a huge amount of taxes here involved with this actually. So anyway, commission, we need to do public hearings. So let's open the public hearing for case SUP 016-25. Anyone to speak to this case? Come on up. What's that?
The
I'm
applicant.
sorry. Applicant?
Applicant is Brennan Ray.
Sorry, Brennan, I didn't mean to cut you out. So. Yeah, it is.
Chair, members of the commission, Brendan Ray, 2325 East Camelback, here on behalf of Christ the Victor Church. Can I steal your thing? Awesome, thank you. We're certainly glad to be here talking about a commercial use.
Point it there.
Oh.
It's
That's
tricky.
I like it. Still doesn't like me. Like that, circle it.
Can we get staff?
There we go. All right.
There we go.
Apparently I didn't have the right form. The site, staff indicated, is a little over 19 acres, located at Arizona Farms Road, next to the railroad. It has been zoned CB1, Commercial Business Zoning District, and as staff indicated, this is the site of the former 84 lumber yard. The church started operating in 2004, and as staff indicated, the little circle works. Sorry. The church, as I said, beginning operating in 2004. In 2009, they did start with the self-storage. And if you look at the site as it's laid out, kind of comparison, apples to apples, with north being up, that northern building, that is where the church occurs. And then the balance of the site outlined there in orange, that is where the RV storage does apply. I am happy to go through the details of the special use permit requirements, but they are within the narrative. And we believe that as we look at it, we have satisfied those requirements for the special use permit. With respect to the comment by Commissioner Davila about tax exempt status, that is so far above my pay grade. I will not even begin to speculate on tax exemption, taxes, or anything like that. Other than to say simply the church is a 501c3, and it is important that they maintain that designation, and they are not going to do anything that will adversely impact that 501c3 designation. And so with that, I'm sure there's more details I could go into, but we would request your guys' approval of this special use permit. Happy to answer any questions you all might have.
Questions? Questions?
You wouldn't expect any less at Santan Valley. I've lived here since 2009, and they have always had travel trailers or motorhomes there in storage, and it's always been very clean and neat and kept. I just wasn't aware that it's strictly for the members of the church only, not the outside public, I believe. And that was just because that was what Valentine had said for Glenn, so.
Yeah, through the chair, Commissioner Mooney, it is not strictly limited to members of the church. It is available to the public for them to use as well. As you can imagine, in this area, there's a lot of people with a lot of toy haulers, a lot of RVs, a lot of things like that. And so not all of them have large acre properties with which to store them on. And so this presents an opportunity to do so.
Okay, I just appreciated clarification on that. That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? Commissioner Hartman.
I see that you had, as you're supposed to, the neighborhood meetings, and you don't have any letters of support or any letters of opposition. Did all those meetings, were they well attended, or just that basically everybody's in support of this or kind of quiet on it?
Yeah, through the chair, Commissioner Hartman, I know at the neighborhood meeting that I did not attend, but someone from my office did cover it. There was, I believe, one individual that was concerned about the use permit and the church continuing that use. My understanding is that there was a concern because I believe that individual, if I'm remembering the facts, and I'll be the first if I'm wrong, I will publicly admit where I'm wrong. But it was my understanding that that particular individual who expressed the concern had recently attained approval for another self-storage facility not too far in the area. And so that's about as far as my knowledge goes as to those facts and circumstances. Since that time, we have not received any correspondence. Obviously, there are people in support of it. They're not here today, but we have not heard any concerns. I think it's important to note that, as Commissioner Mooney indicated, this is operated since 2009. Not knowing that the special use permit was needed, a complaint was registered. I do not know the nexus or origin of that code complaint, but that's prompted us to go through this process and come before you today to request a special use permit.
Great, thank you.
Well, we live in a competitive world. I mean, it doesn't make me happy when somebody builds a car wash down the street from me or a gas station, it's such is life, I'm gonna make a comment here. Some can agree, I think this is fantastic. Okay, I really do. I was born and raised in the Midwest in a small German Lutheran community. I've been a Lutheran for 75 years, but my point is, and some people disagree, they say churches are not supposed to be in business. You go across the Midwest here, there's so many small churches that are not surviving. For them to do something like this, for the extra income to survive, I think it's awesome. I really do. It's kind of the way this is going to go for a lot of these smaller churches to survive. Some of them have the room, some don't. This is an incredible location. It's fortunate for them and their members and stuff. So anyway, yeah, I think it's awesome what they're doing.
Chair, thank you for that. We would agree as well. We think the location is appropriate up against the railroad tracks.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Public hearing. Let's open the public hearing for case SUP 016-25. Anyone to speak to this case? Have you signed in?
No.
Sign in, give us your name and your address.
How much time do I have for comments?
Excuse me?
How much time?
Okay.
2? 3?
Yes, 3. I was going to ask you that last time. Brennan, are there any members as a church at all here? Just curious. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
I also just want to point out on the map, the 20 acres directly next to the church was just approved for rezone for more boat and RV storage right here. I operate the facility just to the east. My name is David Bauer. I am here to strongly oppose a special use permit application submitted by Christ the Victor Church. It may be laughable because I am in competition with this business, But the reason I'm opposing this is because of their continued operation of the commercial indoor storage and boat and RV storage. For the past 16 years, this 501c3 nonprofit has been knowingly operating a commercial storage facility illegally and in clear violation of county zoning laws. This is not a misunderstanding, nor is it a case of evolving code. It's been an intentional ongoing effort to avoid regulations, inspections, and costs that every legitimate business like mine in our county is required to follow. When concerns were first raised by us to the county over 5 years ago, nothing changed. Only after I was forced at personal time and expense to involve legal counsel and file a formal complaint with Pinal County, which issued a violation to the church. Finally, instead of bringing the illegal activity to an end, Christ the Victor hired a law firm to seek a special use permit to retroactively justify what they have already been doing illegally and unethically for almost 2 decades, not paying taxes, undercutting legitimate tax-paying businesses like ours. This undermines the integrity of our zoning system at Pinal County. Granting this permit would reward long-term non-compliance and send a message that operating illegally for many years is an acceptable path to later approval for these activities. It places law-abiding property owners and businesses at a disadvantage and erodes public trust in the county's enforcement process. I know that under the county's ordinance for a special use permit, specifically Code 2.151.010, the applicant must demonstrate that they are in accordance with the intent in the zoning district. In this case, the evidence is clear that the church has operated essentially as a commercial business for 16 years without required zoning approval, building permits, taxes, or code compliance. That long-term non-compliance erodes any claim of operating in accordance with the intent of zoning regulations. I'm not here to oppose the church's mission or its presence in our community. I'm here because no organization, religious or otherwise, should be allowed to bypass the law and ethics for over 16 years and then be granted permission only after being caught and forced to comply. I respectfully ask the board uphold the zoning code, support fair and equal enforcement, and deny this special use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question.
Sir. Sir. Come back up. Got a question.
So you have a business that's already operating or one that's proposed?
Since 2004, we've been operating directly to the east. You can see the part of our business actually it's cut off in this picture, but it's directly to the east on the other side of the railroad tracks. You can see the boat and RV storage. That's us. The one that was just approved is the 20 acres that you see outlined just right next to their little red line. 20 more acres of boat and RV storage will be built within the next year. Donahue Boat and RV, they were just through here like a year ago. And they've already broken ground and carved out their whole space. So this approval would basically quadruple, 10x the RV boat storage in that area. But beyond that, there's stuff that hasn't even come online that's being developed now right next to us. And we're at 70% for boats and RVs at our peak right now. So we have plenty of room. We've been operating legitimately since 2004, paying taxes, doing all the correct things. And these guys, we've been talking to them. We've sent letters to them. We had to hire attorneys to file things to finally get them to do what they're doing now. I just think it's unconscionable, especially for an ethical business.
Do you have frontage on Arizona Farms Road or not?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yep. We're right there next to them. Yep. That's us.
Any other
But
questions?
we're already developed. We're not in development.
I just had one other question, and I think that you answered it. I was curious to what your current occupancy rate was.
70%, right around 70% right now, boats and RVs, and we're at the peak high for the season because of snowbirds.
Has that been pretty consistent, or does that fluctuate?
No, it fluctuates. And the church, there's backstory. This has been going on, like I said, for 16 years. And we've complained to the county about it and so on. It's a long story that we've been battling with the church, and they're aware of it. And they're aware that they've been doing this. In fact, at the neighborhood meeting, one of the senior officials said, when asked, how have you been able to operate this business, not paying taxes, all this stuff? And the official said, and I quote, and I recorded it, "We've just been skirting it."
You've been what?
Been skirting it.
Skirting it.
Skirting the edge.
Very nonchalant. So yeah, they've been enriching their church. They also call their fees donations, which allows the people storing with them that were storing with us to write their donations off on their taxes.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, yeah. No,
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Any other questions?
But yeah.
Anyone else to speak to this case? All right. All right, let's close the public hearing for SUP 016-25 and come back to the commission for what's your poison? What's your desire?
Chairman, I have a question.
Sure.
The last speaker, that's a pretty serious opposition, but yet in your report, it says you received no letters of support or opposition. I'm just curious.
Yeah, according to the report,
Curious
there
why
was
you
no
didn't pick
letters
that up.
received by Glenn. But yeah, we were aware that he informed me that there will be possible opposition during the P&Z. So here we go. Yeah, staff was aware about the situation, and yeah, SUP, that's one of solution. Another solution is rezone. One SUP, another rezone. If rezone will be done or SUP will be approved, then they will have legal rights to do that.
Brendan, rebuttal.
Through the chair, members of the commission, I think when we look at this, I think the lens with which we look at it is the special use permit requirements that are in front of you today. That is the scope of the request before us. I certainly, I don't know that this is an appropriate venue to address allegations of impropriety or illegality relative to taxes and relative to operations and
No,
stuff
just
like
zoning
that.
matters.
Correct. And so facts are that they have operated for a while with that. They did not do so with a willful disregard of what it is. And again, as a result of it, that's why we're here today. This is not the first time this group has had a situation like this where people operate without complete knowledge of facts and circumstances, but then when those are brought to light, they do come forward and try to remedy it appropriately.
All right, thank you. I will make a comment that one of the things that I've learned for myself, being on this commission for years now and from the prior, was that putting an SUP in place gives the county 10 times more power to regulate this thing, basically. I mean, it really does. I mean, there's been times we've been opposed to SUP and the prior chairman said, wait a minute, this really puts some enforcement power in the county's protection stuff, you know, and I will add that, which it does. And they're not going to operate wrong or anything like that. I know that, but I just want to make that comment. So any other questions for the applicant?
That's it.
Staff, go for it.
I have a question for staff. I'm a business owner, I have several locations, and I'm just curious. So if a business doesn't operate within the established codes that everybody else, the neighbor does, and then comes out later like, whoops, hey, I didn't know this, but it looks in this case like the other neighbor forced the issue on them. Is there like any penalty for that? Because it appears that it's kind of a unlevel playing field out there, to where one guy's been getting by and now he comes in for deathbed repentance, so to speak. I just didn't know. But from a legal standpoint or a county code enforcement, how is that looked at?
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the commission. Commissioner Scott, if you could clarify the question for me just a little bit. I'm not sure I understand the exact nature of the question.
Okay, so you got a business that's operating legally within the zoning code and is zoned correctly. You have another business, a neighboring business that's just operating at not within the code of the zoning. Is there any, he didn't come forward on his own, according to the citizen that spoke up. He was directed by law by an attorney to come forward. So he didn't raise his hand and realize, hey, I've been doing this wrong and I want to make it right. He was forced to this.
What I can say is our county does have a zoning code, and if there are violations of that code and a member of the public were to complain, that would initiate the complaint process. and an investigation would ensue by the code compliance officers. If there is a violation, the code compliance officers will send a notice of violation. If the violation is not resolved, then that matter would be set for a hearing before the hearing office. The hearing officer then would have essentially what equates to a bench trial. There would be witnesses and evidence presented. The county would have the burden to establish the violation. The property owner would have the opportunity to hire counsel if desired to defend the allegations the county's making. The hearing officer would make a decision. There are fines that can be imposed for violations of the zoning ordinance by the hearing officer. My understanding is that those fines would be prospective from the date of the violation. And once the hearing officer makes a decision, there's an appeal right. The matter could be referred to the county attorney's office for subsequent action in the Superior Court. And that would be the process for handling a code violation generally.
If I could elaborate, just maybe give you a little bit more context. It's the county's philosophy that we do code enforcement on a complaint basis only. And so what we try to do with code enforcement is to achieve compliance and not take generally not take punitive actions against those that are in non-compliance, but rather to get them into compliance. So whether that's fair or not fairness is an eye beholder, but that's generally what the philosophy has been, at least since I've been here.
Chair, Commissioner Scott, if I may, just to clarify. So there is existing pending code compliance for this property. They are not moving to the public hearings because they are waiting for this SUP application outcomes. If it will be denied, then it will go through public hearings. If it will be approved, then there will be no case.
So the church has received a code violation from the county?
Correct.
A formal one? Okay.
Yeah, there was complaint and code enforcement started the case. And it's pending. If SUP or rezone, any other option will be approved, then there will be no case basis. If it will be denied, then there will be only pass to go through public hearings for code compliance.
So is there any penalty to the church, being that they started this in 2009 and now we're in 2025?
Not as of today, there is no, it's still pending. They're not going to public hearings before because they're waiting for SUP outcomes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay, I know.
No.
I'm asking for.
I just have one quick question.
We have a question.
Was just the SUP considered or actually rezoning the property?
Through the chair, Commissioner Mooney, we looked at both options relative to that. And as was indicated, the SUP kind of gives the county a little more teeth than zoning. And so the code does allow us to apply for the SUP. It's not, we get to make a choice. And so the choice was to go through the SUP process.
Oh, and I understand, and I know that we've been through different cases before, and it does have some teeth, but for the surrounding properties on either side that have now been rezoned for that, if they were just all the same, I won't say you wouldn't have complaints, but just looking at it that way. So I was just asking if they had considered that option. Thank you.
I have one question.
Go for it.
Because it was brought up in this hearing, and it's a SUP case, are the spaces based on donations for the SUP, and how does that go about?
Through the chair, Commissioner Sneff, I believe I know the answer to that question, but if you'll give me 1 minute to confirm it. Chair, Commissioner Steph, thank you for the moment. They pay full freight. The fees that are paid in association with this are not donations to the church.
Okay, good. I thought that this needed to be out there. Thank you for the answer.
Okay, anyone else? Otherwise,
And Chair,
motion?
I'm Chair, members of the commission, I just want to make sure, it wasn't clear to me if any of the members of the public wanted to speak on this matter.
I asked.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Richard, go for it.
Chair, I don't believe it's my personal belief that we are not here to punish applicants for past behavior, nor do I believe we are here to impose fines or penalties for past behaviors. I don't believe that we're here to regulate competition within commerce. So based on what's been presented and filtered out, I'll move that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward a recommendation of approval, case SUP 01625, to the Board of Supervisors, subject to the following one stipulation.
Second. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Can we, take
Nay,
that?
sorry, can you please put me as nay? Thank you.
Okay. Do we want to take a quick break or okay.
Yeah, I could use one.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, let's take a quick break. So, you have
The target. Oh, there you go.
Oh, like it's an issue.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point. I got up to this. Hey, how are you? I have my passport, so I've just been traveling with that. Yeah, I find that. All right. You just go there, you don't have to watch you know, fortunately, we're here, and it's control. Fair amount of that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but it's what it is. So, all right, I'm going to get coffee in there.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, there was I get the one from, and I remembered it in a sense, but yeah, I was kind of surprised when I didn't get the rest of the.
Yeah, I just felt,
package.
I felt like naked or I had my tooth down.
Yeah.
That's why I just wanted to say, when I said it the other day.
Yeah.
I didn't really any. I'm not trying to.
Yeah. Well, it surprised me when I didn't get the link that I normally get from Corey. That's the one I usually, as a matter of fact, the one I get from Corey is the one I usually work off with. Because it gives me the maps and everything else that goes along with it. Yeah, you might give it a shot. There was a little line there a little while ago. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah.
Friend Davina.
If any information. You guys can discuss. And how it goes, I have a meeting. Like, I would have to.
Be done. Sure.
Yeah.
My wife Laura. You know, that he's never. Whoop. Let's call back to order the November 20th Planning and Zoning Commission. And everybody ready? Good? Okay. Next case, PZPA 005-25. There's three cases related here, PZ 01625 and PZPD 01025. We will hear all three of these cases together in the public hearing portion, okay? Staff.
Good morning, members of the commission. Justin Mullis, planner of Pinal County. I'll be presenting cases PZPA 00525, PZ 01625, and PZPD 01025 for the Cactus Wren Best Facility. So the proposals are first, PZPA 00525, a non-major comprehensive plan amendment to the Pinal County Comprehensive Plan to designate approximately 40 acres from moderate low density residential, my apologies, to general public facilities, services / utilities, not employment, my apologies there. That being the end land use designation. The rezone, PZ 01625, is from general rural to industrial zoning, I3, on approximately 40 acres. And then lastly, PZPD 01025 is a planned area development, again, for that approximately 40 acres for the I3 industrial zoning district. Some information on the site itself. The location is approximately 0.3 miles from the southwest corner of Teal Road, North White and Parker Road in unincorporated Maricopa. The size, again, approximately 40 acres. The landowner is this Volta Development, LLC, and the agent / representative is Rose Law Group. Here is the county map showing its approximate location. You can see it's just south there of Maricopa and to the west of Casa Grande. Here's the vicinity map. We can see the proposed site highlighted there in red. Surrounded by, it's currently in GR zone, some GR to the north and south, and then surrounding it directly to the east is CI1, and that is actually the Nissan test track facility there, as well as the various shades of purple. Those are different levels of industrial zoning. The red that's surrounding it is different levels of commercial zoning, and then those brown CR3, those are residential zoning districts. Moving to the land use map, we can see its current moderate low density residential status as designated by the comprehensive plan. It's surrounded by similarly designated land use types, except for to the west is employment. And again, that's for the Nissan test track facility. Here's an aerial map. We can see the parcel is predominantly vacant with some agricultural uses on the property as well. Surrounding uses are also desert land, open desert land, and agricultural uses, some active and inactive. Again, a more zoomed in picture of the zoning. Its current zoning is GR, again, proposed light industrial I3 with a PAD. The surrounding zoning uses, that's CR3 PAD, that's going to be residential, CB1, CB2, those are all commercial. Some more commercial in that red directly to the south, and again to the east, that similarly zoned industrial. Here's some photos we have to the north of the property, one to the south, we have to the east, and you can see over to the east, that is where the Nissan facility is, and west looking onto the property. Site conditions, the parcel is again a mix of active and inactive agricultural land, predominantly characterized by natural desert landscape. The closest residence to the subject site is approximately 0.5 miles to the south. Access to the property will be off of two new driveways off of White and Parker Road to be developed if the proposal is approved. And the subject site is directly west across the road again from CI1 zone Nissan test track facility. Some more information on the request. First, the comprehensive plan amendment from moderate low density to general public facilities services / utilities, and then a rezoning GR to I3 with a planned PAD approximately 40 acres. The proposed end use is a battery energy storage facility, BESS. The proposal is for up to, as stated by the applicant, 800 megawatt battery energy storage, that being about 4 hours of best use, as stated by the applicant. The system would also include a 42,000 square foot substation area, as well as internal access roads to be developed throughout the property. Also proposed is a new gen tie to connect the project with existing transmission lines, and 50-foot industrial buffers on all sides of the property, as well as 7-foot block walls on all sides of the property. Here we have the interconnection map. So you can see highlighted in orange, towards the southwest of the picture, we have the Cactus Wren facility itself. Those red lines, that's the proposed gen tie connecting it to the blue areas, those being the Duke and Santa Rosa switchyards, as well as existing transmission lines in the area. And this aerial as well gives you an idea of the surrounding land uses, again, agricultural, and that Nissan test track facility. Here we have the site plan draft. The substation is that rectangular portion on the eastmost area of the property. And the rest of it is going to be utilized for battery energy storage. And again, not again, but on the west, we have the retention basin. That's that rectangular portion on the westmost of the property. It's to be surrounded with a 50-foot industrial buffer, as well as 7-foot block walls. Here we have some information on the PAD. The PAD serves to tailor development standards to the specific uses of battery energy storage and restricting those that might be more intensive industrial uses otherwise allowed in I3. So you can see the only allowed use for the PAD is those related to energy storage system facilities, including battery energy storage systems. And the non-permitted uses are all the other uses in I3. So that would be the sole use allowed per this PAD. We have the amended development standards table as well. The only portion of that development standards that would be changing, if we look at the maximum building height, you can see standard I3 zoning is 50 feet. What's being proposed is 50 feet, except substation and associated equipment and infrastructure may reach a maximum of 90 feet. Below that as well, we see the minimum industrial buffer. Normally in I3 zoning, it says no less than 10% of lot depth or width or 50 feet. This proposed PAD stipulates just 50 feet. So the real substantive change is that increase of the maximum building height at 90 feet. Public participation. To date, staff has received one letter of opposition. That letter discusses concerns regarding the amount of energy development in the county and effects that this proposal may have on the desert landscape. Staff has also received 17 letters of support. One from the Pinal Alliance of Economic Growth, ED3 and SRP have both submitted letters of support, as well as 14 from residents, 2 of which are in immediate proximity to the parcel itself, so direct neighbors. The letters of support discuss increased capacity and support for SRP and ED3. They discuss minimal disruption to traffic and surrounding land use, potential economic benefits via tax revenue and creation of jobs, the project's inclusion of a 20-year operational life and decommissioning plan, and the strategic location near existing transmission infrastructure. Let's see if I can hit that bullseye. There we go. On subsequent slides, I have the motions and stipulations, as well as the applicant is here with their presentation. But with that being said, any questions for staff at this time?
Questions from the commission? Mr. Ray?
I'll ask all my questions. Some of them may be for the presenter when they come up. We just finished going through the comprehensive plans, amendment changes, and I do understand that this is a small one, only 40, but just why wasn't that proposed with all the others? Because it went through all of the processes. Number 2, are there any entitlements surrounding this proposal? I am learning as I've served on this that there are entitlements that can go back to 99. So is the county staff aware of any entitlements that aren't shown on the slide? When you show these pictures, they're vacant land. So what is proposed to be near them besides the half a mile away home. This is just a statement, but I have a problem when we are asking for a plan amendment change and it only allows one use, best energy storage. So we can change that and then all of a sudden nothing else can go there but that. Oh, look, you changed it. That's what everybody wanted. So that's frustrating. The building height is way over. So maybe when the presenter is presenting, it can explain why it's 40 feet. What would be 40 feet over the building height that's in there? Is SRP an actual provider in this area to have given a letter of support? And there is no decommissioning plan included in this. And I know that it's different levels, but it's all three, not just a comp plan. And I know, having served here, it's one of the requests I have made, and the commission was on board with asking that something be presented. You tell us it's going to be, not you personally, it's being said that there's be a beautiful decommissioning plan. I'll go right back to what does that involve? And so those are my questions for now. Thank you. I don't know if you can answer any of those with the entitlements or not, but.
Thank you, Commissioner Mooney. For existing entitlements, there were none in the area that I was aware of that would be conflicting with this proposal and property. As far as the comprehensive plan amendment status, the cycle that we had just went through was for the larger major comprehensive plans. Those involved the 60-day review process, the CAC. This is more standard procedure to go through P&Z and BOS for the minor comprehensive plans. For the rest of those, I believe the applicant might be able to address some of those in better detail. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Okay. If that's said, applicant, I see you're signed in.
Thank you. I am, yes.
Name and address.
Good morning, commissioners. It's great to see you all again. Court Rich with the Rose Law Group, 7144 East Stetson. I think last time I spoke to you, it was like nearing midnight last month or something. It was very, very late. So this is better for all of us for a little more fresh. I want to start off and talk a little bit about the context here with this project. I know you all have seen a lot of energy projects over the last several years. I don't know that you've seen any like this, which is a small battery energy storage system all by itself. And this isn't part of thousands of acres of solar. This isn't, we talked about some really big infrastructure last time on several cases. I think what I'd like to get across to you as we go through this, in addition to answering all your questions, is sort of the scale and the nature of this project, which is it's like a substation that might be down the street. It's a tiny rural thing that doesn't make noise, doesn't do anything. There's a wall around it and it just sits there. And so let me get into it a little bit more, but I didn't aim at the thing and it went forward. All right. Here's the site, and I want to put it in context. Everyone always sort of asks with all these energy projects, why is it going here or there, or why anywhere in particular? So I want to point out on this, you'll see the site listed there, surrounded in yellow, and then you've got the transmission lines that are key transmission lines that go through the area highlighted in yellow and blue. And then where those 4 stars are, that's really why we're right here. And let me zoom in on that. So this is like the corner of Main Street and First Street, or Main and Main, or whatever you call it, for electricity in Pinal County. There are 4 major substations right there. And what the battery energy storage system allows you to do in this location is to take the energy that's flowing in and out of those key nodes and hold on to it when it's cheap or when there's too much of it on the grid. And then SRP will hit a button and it will then disperse it when it's needed. And so this is why they're there. This is the spot you want it. Anywhere else, if you get further away from these substations, then when you're transmitting the energy just by physics, a lot of it's lost and it becomes much less efficient. So that's why we're here. And I think not only is that good just from answering the question of why, but from a land use perspective, you'll see there's already these sort of significant electrical kind of passive uses in the area with these substations and these transmission lines. And that's why we think this is the appropriate location for this. We have great local support. And I think this is really important too. I know your questions are always, when you have these energy projects, what's in it for Pinal County? Is this going to Nevada or California, or what are we doing here? So you have a letter, I think it's been handed out to you today, from ED3. And I'll read you a couple of the things that they wrote in there. And it's important because the applicant's been working with them. They're actually going to build infrastructure that's shared with them as part of this project. So it will be hand in hand with ED3. So ED3, they wrote, will directly benefit from shared electric line infrastructure that ES Volta will construct. Coordination between ED3 and ES Volta has already begun and is ongoing. ED3 expects the shared infrastructure and ancillary services provided by the BEST system to be a benefit to Pinal County and ED3 customers. I'd also highlight, they say that, like I just explained, this is an ideal location for this resource. And finally, they say it's important that the project receive its zoning approval so that coordination can continue to give way to the investments that will enable the numerous project benefits. So that's how we're working with Electrical District number 3. Then I want to highlight SRP. So SRP is the company that will ultimately contract for this energy. And in fact, that's why we're here right now, because they need the certainty by December so that their board can vote to move forward and make the investment in this project. So they write about battery storage. Battery storage is critical to grid reliability. It provides flexible capacity, reduces reliance on costly wholesale markets, and ensures adequate supply during peak demand. These resources will help prevent shortages that could lead to blackouts. And this, I think Commissioner Mooney answers one of your questions about how SRP is involved and how they serve the county or not. Here they write about having 90,000 residents in Pinal County that are SRP customers. And so that is roughly 20% of Pinal County is served by SRP. So this is a Pinal County resource along with the ED3 impacts as well. And I hit the button before, but they're expecting 12% growth year over year in energy in Pinal County, which means they need these types of resources in order to serve right here at home. They write, zoning approval is a critical step before SRP and the developer can finalize an agreement. We respectfully urge the commission to approve this project, which will strengthen the regional grid and help ensure reliable power for Pinal County and beyond. Some of you may know Linda Brady from SRP. She's at an energy conference in Utah right now and wasn't able to be here, so I know she sent this letter, but appreciate them doing that and explaining their involvement. As staff mentioned, we have other letters of support as well. I think what really, I think, underscores how limited the intrusion or what this means to the neighborhood is that we have 2 letters of support from 2 of the nearest neighbors to the property. So the Dugan family that lives like 2,500, I think, feet to the south, or 30-some hundred feet to the south. And then the Grewing family, which is about 3,000 or 4,000 feet to the north, all wrote letters of support for this project. I have their letters here, but we don't need to read them. So if this area under the current designation in the comprehensive plan is approved for 3.5 homes to the acre. We know there's a lot of concern about future residential in the area and maintaining the rural nature of the area from a lot of folks. You hear those kind of comments often. Obviously, this would replace potential future residents with a quiet, inert thing that just sits there. And that's a lot less traffic as a result of this in the future. We did a comparison of the trips per day that could be generated by the homes that could be built on this site, which would be just about 1,400 trips per day versus this use, which is almost nothing. We're working on a pre-annexation development agreement with the city of Maricopa, which we're really excited about, and we're finalizing that. And it says thank you, but I'm not finished. I do want to answer Commissioner Mooney's questions, and then obviously all of your questions that you have.
Court. Could you
yes.
go back one slide, please?
If it'll let me,
I didn't have enough time to.
Oh, sorry.
Think about
I'll
that.
leave that there and I'll keep talking. So, so Commissioner Mooney, the building height was one of your questions. The only deviation there is for none of the structures except in the substation, which requires, it's an electrical pole. So that we just need to make sure that they can put that pole in, because it's going to go, that's part of what we're sharing with Electrical District number 3 is we're going to build poles into those substations that I showed, and we're going to have ED3 share those poles with us, which will save them money and save all their customers money. I think you asked about why didn't this come through with the major comprehensive plan amendments? By state law, only major comprehensive plan amendments can follow that track that you do once a year. And so we didn't have the ability to do that because it's a minor amendment. Surrounding this area is what was approved for a master plan community many, many years ago. To the north is the data center property that you all approved and that the board just approved yesterday. There was a large data center we talked about last time. So again, a lot of electrical infrastructure in the area. The I-3, limiting it to a single use. So the comment that we usually get is if we just rezoned it to I-3, then any of those industrial uses could be done there. And typically, the community doesn't want to just think that any heavy industrial thing can happen. And so we intentionally limit the use so that it can either be battery storage, or if they want to do any single other thing, they have to come back to you all and say, here's what I want to do. Is it okay? Does it fit with the area? Do you agree? And so if you didn't do that, then they'd be able to go do any of those uses. And some of them are not sort of passive nothing uses. They might be more intense and unwanted. I think I answered all of your questions, but I'm happy to take any other questions, of course, and certainly would appreciate your support. I think it's an important project. It is providing energy locally, which I know is one of your sort of bright lines that you're that you talk about with great vigor often. And so I'm happy to be here with a project like that. We have local support, neighbors like it, and would love your support.
Any other questions for the applicant?
I just want to confirm my thinking. The 800 megawatt battery storage, that's a new concept for me. I'm guessing, but this is intended to help flatten out the curve in terms of energy consumption.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, yeah, so it's a great question. When batteries are on the grid by themselves, so they can absorb any energy that's on the transmission system at that time. Whenever, typically there's a few ways that they'll use it. The utility could use it to essentially buy when energy is cheap and store it, so that then when it's July afternoon and it's really expensive, they can hit the button and deploy it then instead of buying wholesale power, which I think SRP mentioned in their letter. And so it's a lot cheaper for the ratepayers if they use it at just to arbitrage the energy prices. The other thing they can do is, at peak, if they just need more power, they have an option of, another option. Some of the gas-fired power plants might take a few minutes to ramp up. These are just on. Like,
Well,
if you need it,
that's
just
how I see it.
Yeah.
Is that instead of ramping,
Yeah.
The curve is flat.
Yeah.
So you don't have all of this rush to bring generators back up online.
Exactly. And they, I think some people refer to it as sort of like the Swiss Army knife of energy generation, because it is so flexible and can do so many things and react so quickly. And they use it to help balance the grid and all kinds of stuff.
I'd like to see more of it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mooney.
The decommissioning plan
Oh,
wasn't
yes.
addressed.
Yes. Thank you. Did I not write that down? That's a great question. So we have a decommissioning plan in our PAD document. It says that we will have a decommissioning plan. Your staff is right now revising what they want to see in those, and they ask that we submit that to them with the site plan. So we're committed, we're required by our PAD to do that, and it's just a matter of staff, I think, they can certainly confirm this, is revising kind of the details of what they want to see in those. But
we don't see site plan though.
Correct.
So when and I guess my point being is when it being sold to us, it's going to be decommissioned and back to the way it is.
Yeah.
I need to understand that you're asking me to make a motion or an approval on something that I don't understand what the end game is, even though I probably won't be alive to see it. I'm trying to do my due diligence in making sure that there is something in place. And this isn't probably your first project. So even if there is a general, this is what the overall plan looks like, but for this project, it may be tweaked this way, or that project, it would be tweaked. There's just nothing in place. And so that's what I'm I don't think you've actually been here to hear me go on
Yeah.
about that when it's being sold as, oh, and it will be decommissioned back to whatever. It may never even happen. And I understand and respect that as well. So that is just something that I asked and the commission was in support of being able to see something like that. Because I'm sure this isn't your first project.
That's right. So I will say, I guess I feel like we're in a bit of a catch-22 because staff asked us to hold off and submit that with the site plan. But we are required to have one. I can explain to you. I mean, they will be removing. This is farmland, first of all, right now. So this isn't sort of open desert that will be disturbed. But the plan will require them to remove everything that they put in place and restore the land to its previous status. So
Previous status to the way the land was, but that doesn't bring it back to farmland. It doesn't just revert back to that zone. It still is in this zone is that correct?
So it will still be zoned the way it is. Under state law, you can actually farm in any zoning category, but if anyone wants to do another use, they would have to come back to you all. So they can't just decide they want to do something else.
And one other to address, and it's for staff and maybe down the road that 90, I appreciate the explanation for the 90-foot, why it would be so much taller. Is that something you'd be acceptable putting as a stipulation so that no other buildings actually go over what the set is for that? And it would just be the poles or something like that?
I think that the stipulation as it is, or the PAD as it is, says that that's only for the substation. And so it wouldn't allow any other structures to get taller than that. But you can confirm with staff, of course.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you, sir.
To follow up on that portion, the requirement as stipulated in the PAD reads, substation and associated equipment and infrastructure may reach a maximum of 90 feet.
Okay. Tom, Commissioner Scott.
Just a few general questions, solar batteries are always a topic of concern for our citizens. Are these batteries, are they tied to that new Griffin solar energy that's south of the I-8?
Chairman, Commissioner Scott, no, this is a different project.
Okay.
Not related to that project.
So where does the power originate? Whose power is it that's going to be stored in those batteries?
So it will definitely be SRP and it could be ED3 as well.
Okay. I was at a meeting not too long ago and a vice president of SRP was there. And we're having a similar conversation was actually at the city council meeting in Coolidge. And the SRP vice president said, and he wanted to make a clarification that only solar energy is placed in batteries and that SRP doesn't place electricity that comes from other generation means. So that's what my question is.
So Chairman, Commissioner Scott, I know Chris Dobson well. I've talked to him about energy a lot. My guess is that he was referring to often these are paired with solar projects. And in that case, they're charged directly from the solar. When they're by themselves on the grid, they just take whatever electrons are right there. That said, in the middle of the day, we often have extra solar energy. And so they are absorbing solar energy, so to speak. It's just not necessarily the case that that electron came from a solar project, but that's mainly what they're doing in the middle of the day.
Okay. No, he specifically, it was a standalone facility that was introduced in Coolidge a couple of years ago. But anyway, we can move on that.
Commissioner Scott, I would just mention for what it's worth that ES Volta's just got this same developer got a project approved in Florence, and it was on Chris Dobson's property actually for whatever that's worth. They worked with him on
I didn't
that.
talk to Chris Dobson. He wasn't the person.
Oh, okay. I know he's the vice president. Sorry.
The person, I know in lots of corporations, a lot of people have a title of vice president.
I'm sorry.
Kind of common.
Chris is the vice president of the board. Sorry.
Right, he's the vice. This was a vice president of the business.
Got it.
I guess.
Sorry. Anyway.
No, that's fine.
Anyway, they for what the point is, they just got a similar project, standalone battery storage approved in the town of Florence for whatever that's worth for you.
Okay. No, I just wanted to clarify the origin of the power because I already knew the answer to that question. So I just wanted to ask you. All right. In the abbreviated paperwork that we got from the staff under happy, healthy residents, happy residents, it says, okay, let me take, where is that? The project supports healthy living environment to ensuring minimal environmental and community impacts. Unlike industrial or high traffic developments, the BESS facility does not produce any noise. Okay, I'm just reading it.
Mhm.
And then if you flip over to the next page, it talks about the project maintain will require setbacks enclosed with perimeter block wall adjacent to the landscaping and operate with minimal noise. So my question to you is, which one do I believe? No noise or minimal noise?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Scott, it's minimal, but I don't know that that even understates it enough. We've done sound studies and modeling that show that just off the property, you're at like 40 decibels, which is like whispering in a library. So these are, I've not heard noise complaints associated with these projects.
Well, I was just bringing
Yeah.
up, it was specifically
No.
that there wasn't, which is zero.
Yeah.
And minimal. And we all know that when there's electricity and there's a frequency involved, that there is a certain amount of noise.
Yeah.
So
I think that's
you're
right.
going to have partial noise or minimal noise? Is that the?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Scott, I think minimal, even less than minimal, but there is noise. Our sound study shows that off the property, it's not anything that's louder than ambient noise, background noise.
So minimal noise would be like you and I talking right now? That
The
minimal?
43 decibels.
I don't know what that is.
So that's like they describe it as is like whispering in a library.
Okay. All right. I know what that is.
And that's like at the property line. So.
So then the electricity that's stored there will be sent to SRP or APSs or one of those substations? Do you have your own substation there?
So, Commissioner Scott, there is an on-site substation where the energy is collected and then goes on a line and it will go into the SRP substation. That was one of those 4 that I showed you there.
Okay.
And if they continue to work with ED3, some of it may go there as well.
And then is it going to stay locally? Is it going to go to ED3 and
So,
be dispersed to the citizens that live in that area, or will it leave the county?
so Commissioner Scott, the SRP serves over 90,000 people in Pinal County, and they are going to be the primary that's going to take this. And so to the extent that they're serving like 20% of the county will benefit from it. And then also working with ED3 to try to have it stay there as well. So we think the county will. Both those electric companies have said that the county will benefit.
Okay. You didn't make any comment on the property taxes that would be generated off this property for the.
I didn't, because I know you like to engage on that. So I specifically didn't. I just leave it alone now.
Okay.
But it will generate significant property taxes. If there you go. So and on a very small, to be frank, if you have several thousand acres of solar, you're going to get the same property tax benefit from that as you are from this little tiny 40 acres of this. This is a $750 million investment. And so it really is significant amount of property tax, which will help the county keep property taxes low for everyone in the county. So.
How much money did you?
And now you can let me have it.
Yeah.
750 million.
$750 million investment. Yeah.
Won't there be personal property taxes on that?
There will be business personal property taxes on that. Yes. And so the estimates are about $10 million to the county. So
this is really quite different than solar, because solar is a diminishing personal property tax.
No, so solar does pay tax.
Right, I understand.
My next question to him will be about the tax. So you got a $750 million dollar project. And that includes everything, the infrastructure, the batteries and the substation and the whole 9 yards. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. We know by the tax code of Arizona that batteries aren't taxable at all.
That's,
You know that?
that's not entirely accurate. They don't pay sales tax on the battery portion of the project, but the business personal property tax.
The way I understand it is the batteries are excluded from the property tax, according to the county assessor here.
Commissioner Scott, my understanding, and maybe what they're referring to, is the sales tax portion of it.
No, they're talking about the value of the battery. So that's going to reduce the 750 million by, I don't know.
Well, now you tricked me
600
into
million
talking
or
about
something like that.
taxes. I didn't want to talk about taxes.
I know. I'm just throwing it out here for the public here.
Yeah,
Just trying to keep it clean for my citizens I represent there.
fair enough.
All right. You know, recently up in Peoria, there was a fire, and I know fires don't happen very often. I realize that, but occasionally they do. What steps do you, or protocols do you have in place to mitigate a fire? I noticed by looking at the picture that there weren't any fire hydrants out there.
So, Commissioner Scott, there will be a fire tank associated with it as required under the fire code. I actually, you know, if you want to talk about fire, I have with us today a consultant from Fire Risk Alliance, and they are like they write the book on battery fire safety. I've done trainings with all the various fire departments here in Arizona, or many of them anyway. Sit on the board of the commissions that write the fire rules and all that. And so I do have Chief Brian Fink here. If you have specific questions, we can have him get up.
Yeah, I'll get to him in a minute there. So you just mentioned that you're going to have a tank on site. What size tank would that be?
It'll be whatever the fire department requires.
I know that there's other cities that require a 30,000 gallon tank, and they're on these proposals that are remote. And I did a little research on the fire engines, the ladder trucks that participated in the one in Peoria, and they throw up between 725 gallons per minute and 1,125. So I used the lower amount just to be conservative. So that'd be about 45,000 gallons an hour just to mitigate the fire from going anywhere else. The fire continued to burn, but you know, that 45,000 gallons, it goes someplace, an hour, you know, it all rained off. So I figured on that one fire that they sprayed out, you know, 500,000 gallons of water. So the concern of the citizens is, I know it's a rare occasion that a battery will catch on fire, but when it does, what safety precautions are in there? I know there's not a lot of people that live there currently, but I imagine in the future, you know, that will change.
Would you like me to have like I'm not an expert on this. I can talk about it, but I've got like the literal expert in the country on this. If you want to hear from him, I'm happy to.
Sure, go ahead.
Sign in, please.
I believe I signed in on a sheet. Yes. My name is Brian Fink. I'm a retired battalion chief out of New York City. I spent 38 years with the department. I retired about 3 years ago, and since then I've been working on these projects and training the firefighters on how to respond to battery energy storage facilities. So if you have specific requirements, any of that, please.
From a firefighting, I guess, or a fire station, who do you have an agreement with to cover this in the first place? Maybe we could start there.
So we actually are in a great position that we're working with 2 fire departments. So we have Thunderbird is who we've been working with, but we have the pre-annexation development agreement with the city of Maricopa, which will then allow us to have Maricopa Fire serving the site.
Okay.
City.
Thank you.
So Thunderbird, I did some training with them already. I think the biggest part of the equation for firefighters to operate safely at these facilities is the training portion. And they are required to provide training on a yearly basis to the firefighters so they know what to do and, more importantly, what not to do. Lithium-ion battery fires as you probably all are aware of, whether it be your cell phone, your computer, your electric vehicle, or batteries inside these containers, your best option is not to try to put out the burning container, just protect the exposures. Spatial separation is a good way or a good alternative to having large amounts of water on the site. If the containers are far enough from each other, you don't have the same concerns with it spreading to another piece of equipment. And actually, the code council that I sit on, it's UL 95 or UL 9540 and 9540A, is now going to require in 2026 that testing be done by the manufacturers as to what those spatial separations should be by igniting an entire container of batteries and having containers around it. So it could give them a good idea. Okay, where will the next container be safe if there is a fire in one of the adjoining containers? So there's a lot of new codes and regulations in place. And I think between those and firefighters being trained properly on how to respond to these things, they can be built safely.
Yeah, I heard in a recent town hall that I attended that there was a battery company there, and they're on a 20-foot container size looking battery, which costs $1 million. They're willing to ignite it to learn about.
Well, they're not going to have any
So,
choice in 2026. It's going to be a requirement that they
Yeah.
do that. Yes.
So you being a fire chief or a past fire chief, what is the protocol when you get a call out to go to a battery fire?
Yeah. Well, it
What
depends
would
on
you
what,
do with your personnel?
yeah. So at one of these sites, so most of the calls the fire department is going to receive is for devices inside your houses or electric vehicles. It's pretty rare you're going to be going to one of these facilities. If they go to one of these facilities, they're going to be trained that they don't enter the facility. Same as they don't go into substations, right? That's not the place they want to be. If they'd have to take an action, it would be just, and I know a lot of fire departments are using what they call master streams, and you did your homework well as to how much water they're going to flow. They flow a lot of water. It's really not necessary. You just need enough cooling on an adjoining container to keep it from heating up. So I understand why they do that, because they can keep their people away. I think there may be new options in the future as far as lower flow nozzles they could be using, so you don't need so much water on site. But the best thing for the fire department to do is nothing in the beginning.
So the short answer on I appreciate the detail, and I appreciate you being a firefighter and having, current and accurate knowledge on what to do and what not to do.
Mhm.
So the short answer is we just mitigate the fire from spreading, and we don't, nobody goes up there and runs a fire extinguisher, and we allow the battery that's having a problem just extinguish itself.
That's your best option. And if you think about it, when they talk about electric vehicles, I'm sure you've read the stories where the fire department says, and I've got one of the stories, they used 32,000 gallons of water and it took them 4 hours to put it out. The problem being is if, quote, they actually are able to put it out, they take it to the tow yard and it goes back on fire, 2 weeks later.
Right.
If the batteries involved, the damaged batteries, are allowed to consume themselves, it can't go back on fire again. That's why we recommend, whether it be an electric vehicle or one of these battery containers, is to let that one burn up completely and you don't run that risk.
So you're not going to go out there with a dump truck and a big loader and pile something else?
No. And all of that, you see a lot of stuff on the internet, a lot of people talking about things, what you could do, and all these products that can stop thermal runaway. It's all nonsense. It doesn't work.
I just noticed out there, I live in Coolidge, that Nicola was out there and their trucks were catching on fire all the time. And there was a large pile of sand out there in a loader.
Yeah, so what that does is
I don't know if that's a solution.
it's really not a solution because it will still off gas, and those gases would be flammable, right? That's what happens during thermal runaway. It produces flammable gases. So, it's nice to say that. I guess if you put enough sand on it, it would be filtered out. But, that's not an option with something like this. And it's really not an option for vehicles as well.
So the off gases that are coming off there, what is that generally?
The
I
three
know
main
stuff
gases.
you don't want to breathe. I got that part.
Well, any fire, you don't want to breathe it, I'm surprised I'm still walking around with all the stuff I breathed over the years, especially from car fires. But the three main gases that come off a battery when it's in thermal runaway is carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen. Those are the three main gases.
What was the third one?
I'm sorry,
You said carbon monoxide,
carbon dioxide and hydrogen.
Oh, hydrogen.
Hydrogen is the most prolific gas that comes off a battery when it goes into thermal runaway. And actually the chemistries that they're currently using in these systems, and I know that's what they're planning on using, lithium ion batteries is just like a catch-all for a lot of different chemistry, lower divisions of batteries. The older systems and where we've seen the fires is when they were using the nickel manganese cobalt batteries, that chemistry. Most of the developers and manufacturers now have gone over to lithium iron phosphate batteries that have prevented, the type of events that we've been seeing, or at least limit the ability for, thermal runaway to get beyond one container.
I got so many questions.
You should come to one of the trainings.
Yeah, no, that would be a good idea. Let's see, I read the letters that you provided there, Court, what was it, 17 letters? 3 of them were local people, 1 was opposed, and 2 were for, and all the other letters were from out of town, different businesses or people that lived in various places, some in the county, some not. But
So Commissioner Scott, I didn't send all the letters myself, but my understanding was that the majority of those were from the county, but there were certainly 3 that were very local.
there was 3
yeah.
that were, 2 were really
Neighbors.
local.
Yeah.
And then 1, just says Maricopa. I don't know where that is. I know where Maricopa is, but I don't know where she is.
Huh.
Then the other ones were one here in Arizona City. That's not too close. Apache Junction, Santan Valley. Those aren't too close.
Not too close, but
I was just
County.
kind of, I just wanted to see like a representation if there was any of the guys that like lived within a mile or something like that.
Yeah. When I showed you that map, I hope you saw, we have,
I did,
2 of the closest neighbors are in support, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's good. All right. That's all I have for right now.
Any other questions?
I have more of a comment. I think it would be informational for the public and for the commission and anyone else. I think the Board of Supervisors had a work session November 12th, and they discussed all this. I think it was your company that they had out there, a representative talking about the best systems and perhaps, if you would like to go kind of view that. It was the November 12th, what's that, a little over a week ago that they had it, and it might be informative for everyone to get more of a understanding of how these battery storage units work and what the mitigation is on them. This an additional thing for us, I think, to do that and for the public.
Yeah, it'd kind of been nice to get a heads up on that. So,
You're right.
it was like the best kept secret or something, but
I didn't find out till afterwards. Too.
yeah, me too. And I called my supervisor on that.
Okay.
I think the more information that can be shared that's accurate is really valuable because the citizens out there are really concerned. And, maybe it died down a little bit, but when the SRP, I would assume, they're pretty wealthy. They just do everything first class. And they don't cut corners and things like that. But to have that type of fire in that populated area and what was done to control it, really heightened the awareness of our citizens again. So I wanted to bring that up to you.
And Commissioner Scott, I agree. And I've talked to SRP about that fire, and I know I don't think there were any evacuations that were done as part of it. It was 2 containers that were adjoining, and that was, the fire was just there. It didn't spread or anything like that, for what it's worth. But yeah, it definitely got awareness back up about the issue.
Yeah, there was a reporter there, a woman, a lady, and as she talked, she kept getting choked up, but she also acknowledged on the report that the camera person put on a mask. She didn't have one, but she said, I need to take a step back here and get a drink. I got something in my lungs that's from this fire. And when that was heard by the citizens in general, that's like the biggest red flag a person can see.
Absolutely.
And I understand that they were like made in, to be fair, and I don't know, they're 5 years old or some, 2021, I believe is what it was. And I know technology changes all the time.
And Commissioner Scott, I know, in fact, Chief Fink's company has, I've read a report that they were involved in New York where they studied, what's in these fires compared to other types of fires. And certainly, as he said, you don't want to breathe in smoke, but of any fire. But what they find in these is very much the same as what you might find in a house fire. It's not some other unique sort of additive ingredient or something. So
from a smart aleck comment, so should we not have houses? People live in houses. They're there for a purpose. These battery storage facilities are brought in and introduced. Nobody lives there. They got to benefit themselves and things like that. So I've heard that comment before, so I was ready for you if you came up.
We're ready for each other. We got to change up our games next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. No other questions? Let's open the public hearing portion for case PZPA 005-25, PZ 01625, PZPD 010-25. Anyone to speak to this? 3 minutes.
Is it afternoon? Good afternoon, commissioners. Laurie Fuller, Thunderbird Farms. I'm speaking on this very ad hoc because I was totally unaware of it. When these projects happen in unincorporated Pinal County, and they only are required to send a notice within 1,200 feet of something, quite often we don't hear about it at all. The only way we knew about this was by reading the agenda on Friday, and that gives the citizens out there zero chance, virtually zero chance to respond. The only reason I'm responding is because I was here for another matter. First of all, I'd like to say it's ironic that they have named this cactus wren when those are the very birds that live in the desert that may be endangered by this type of project. I have attended 2 information sessions by 2 additional battery energy storage systems that are coming up in Hidden Valley. One is Horseshoe. It is going to be 159 acres, and it's just a few miles from this one. There is another one coming up called Hazy Peak. So if the presenter is saying this is the only one and it's very small in the area, that's there's 2 more upcoming that they're just doing community outreach, and they're doing a great job because they're reaching out to people that they know in the community. They're reaching out to our supervisor who is reaching out to our community. From the presentation I attended, the batteries do make noise, and the batteries only hold energy for 4 hours. So in order to get 8 hours of energy storage for when the peak demand is, you need double banks of batteries. So how much more noise does a double bank make? If they only hold power for 4 hours and it's not pulled back out of them, where does that energy go? Does that become heat? The desert has an issue with heat already. How much heat do these batteries give off? And if they're cooled, are they cooled with the very energy they're storing? Is that not redundant? A question, I think, I maybe missed this on the presentation, but I thought the presenter said that this 40 acres was general rural, but yet he went on to say this might replace 140 homes. If it's general rural, it's only replacing 32 homes. So I have a question about that. As for fire, how long does one battery burn before it's out? How much off gases does it give? How much heat is given off? And what happens to the citizens that live downwind? Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, anyone else to speak to these cases? All right, with that, we're going to close the public hearing portion of case PZPA 005-25, PZ 016-25, and PZPD 010-25. And back to the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to briefly respond to the comments you just heard, my comment about the number of homes that could be there was based on the comprehensive plan designation, which allows up to 3.5 homes to the acre, just to clarify that. I think, again, I would note quiet, small, something like it's just sort of nothing in the neighborhood. It sits there behind a block wall. It's landscaped. It looks like nothing, makes very little noise at all. The comment about if it's 4 hours or 8 hours, that's not relative to the noise that the facility would make. And so in any event, we're excited to have the folks that live closest to it in support. We're excited to have the energy here in Pinal County, being used in Pinal County and coordinating with ED3 and SRP, and would really appreciate your all's support. And I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have.
Quick question. Is this located in with that huge 8,000 acres of property that the W Holdings has out south?
Yeah, it's on the east side of that. Yeah, along White.
So I would assume at some point, as that starts building houses and stuff, I know they're working on some of that. This would supply power for some of those, I would imagine. I mean, of course, to SRP and stuff.
It could, if those are, yeah, if that's ED3, which it would be, and if this ends up with an ED3 connection, then it would. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
But, okay, back to the Commissioner Mooney.
I just have a quick question. I know there's different organizations and you're just one, but are you aware of the two that she mentioned that were up and coming? Do you guys, is there like an interconnection so you kind of know other people are doing projects in the area or not?
So I head up our energy department at my law firm, and I work on a lot of these, but I'm not familiar with those two.
Okay.
So I couldn't answer questions about them, but the acreage was surprisingly large for a battery storage facility. I'm not sure about the details of that.
Okay. I'm just curious
Yeah,
if you're aware.
these are
Thank you.
typically very small, like what we have.
Okay. All right. Let's come back to Commissioner Scott.
I just got one thing that I didn't touch on in my questions that the citizen did. What is the heat coming off those things? So they're contained and cooled inside, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the cells are all in a container, and then the whole thing is in a container. And they have a cooling, they have fans that cool them, and then like cooling fluid and stuff inside. But yeah, I've not heard of anyone. I know that we have this discussion about solar panels and whether or not there's a heat island effect.
I'm trying to keep it.
I've not had to deal with that question with batteries. I'm not aware of any issue with that.
I just wonder how much heat comes off the cooling system. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just asking.
I don't know the answer to that one, having not
I will
had that concern.
Research that one. Thank you. That's
Next
all.
time I'll be ready for that.
Hey. I've learned there's obviously a lot of money in battery storage systems for the cost of this thing.
I mean, it's critical electrical infrastructure, and that's not cheap. So yeah, it's definitely, these are big, expensive projects. Even though it's small, it's as important as a big gas plant. It's similar.
Okay. All right. Back to the commission for questions, motion, etc.
Well, if we're gonna sit here dumbfounded, I'll try.
All right. Take it.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward a recommendation of approval for case PZPA 00525 to the Board of Supervisors. Jesus, I hope I got that right. Yeah, I did.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous, step one.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll move that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward a recommendation of conditional approval of case BZ 016-25 to the Board of Supervisors, subject to the following stipulations enumerated herein pertain to the area described in cases PZPA 00525, PZ01625, and PZPD 01025.
Second? Second. Second. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And if I can turn the page. Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward a recommendation of conditional approval of case PZ PD 01025 to the Board of Supervisors following or subject to the following 8 stipulations.
Second? Second. Motion and a second. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Aye. Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank
You're
you.
up.
Appreciate it.
Gotcha. It's 11:30. Looks like we got one case left and then all the commission stuff. We'll keep going. Okay. Okay, next case, PZ 023-25. Staff.
Good morning again, Chairman, members of the Commission. Justin Mullis, Pinal County Planner. I'll be presenting PZ 02325, Filibertos and Commercial Rezone. The proposal is requesting a rezone from general rural to neighborhood commercial C1. The size of the property is approximately 9.93 acres. The location is approximately a quarter mile north of West McCartney Road and North Overfield Road. The tax parcels are enumerated below. The owner slash applicant, the landowner and applicant is Maria Silvia, Azamar LLC. And the agent is Samir Sladwala, Architectural and Associates. Here's the location map showing the approximate location of the site. You can see its location is just to the west of Coolidge, just outside of their incorporated area. Here we have a vicinity map showing the surrounding context. You can see Casa Grande directly to the south, its proximity to that city, as well as its proximity to Coolidge to the north and to the east. It's currently zoned GR, so that kind of light yellow zoning, similar in the area. On the corner northward, that pink zoning is similar commercial zoning, CB1, as well as some other types of residential zoning in the area, the CR2, and a little bit of industrial in that purple to the south. Here's an aerial map with our site posting. This shows the current state of the property. It's surrounded by largely vacant and agricultural land to the north, south, and east. To the west, there is residential properties. There's a neighborhood to the west. And the current status of the site is a previous avocado nursery being converted to the proposed use laid out today. Here's some imagery to the north and to the south. And here we have to the east and to the west. The west looking onto the neighboring residential properties, and the east looking onto the property itself. So that's the east on the left, the west on the right. We have our conceptual site plan. So this is the site plan for the entirety of the property, showing what future development might look like. The applicant stated the immediate focus of the project, were it to be approved, would be a 15,000 square foot Filibertos drive-through restaurant. That would be in the area circled in red. That's the immediate focus of the proposal. It would be converting existing structure on the site for that use, as well as in the scope of immediate efforts, the just to the west of that property, that rectangular area would be a potential retail space, potentially a coffee shop as proposed by the applicant. The rest of this site plan lays out future developments, what that could potentially look like on this property if it were to be zoned neighborhood commercial. And that includes additional retail spaces, a grocery store, and in the back, those two buildings being self-storage facilities. Again, those are conceptual future plans, but that Filibertos and potential coffee shop are the immediate aims of the applicant. Some items of consideration. The subject site is currently zoned GR, though it has formerly operated as an avocado nursery under a special use permit, that being until 2024. So it is no longer in operation as an avocado nursery. That being said, the property does have history under that SUP issued in 1982, as having commercial agricultural uses. So there is a precedent on the property for commercial uses, but those being strictly those commercial agricultural uses related to the avocado nursery. And so his experience with traffic commiserate to that use, with infrastructure commiserate to that use as well. And now they're proposing to expand that to more general commercial uses as allowed in the C1 neighborhood commercial district. The comprehensive plan designation is moderate low density residential. And this comprehensive plan designation does allow for, the comprehensive plan allows for complementary commercial uses. That's the verbiage in the comprehensive plan. The C1 neighborhood commercial zoning would be intended to fit under that complementary commercial uses. The Filibertos and retail shop, again, are the initial focus of development, that retail being the most eastward or westward parcel or piece of the property for potential coffee shop. But all the uses proposed, future retail spaces, self-storage, grocery, any of those conceptual pieces down the line are in accordance with the C1 neighborhood commercial zone. The subject site is approximately 3 miles from the I-10 exit. Is approximately 1 mile from the Central Arizona College Signal Peak campus, and is approximately 0.7 miles from incorporated city of Coolidge. Additionally, the subject site is in flood zone X, this indicating minimal risk of flood hazard. Public participation. To date, staff has received 1 letter of opposition. This letter has discussed insufficient infrastructure to support commercial development, erosion of rural characteristics, and increased traffic and noise from commercial developments, as well as the neighborhood meeting did receive concerns from attendees, again, on those similar lines of opposition. I have the motions on subsequent slides and the applicant here with his presentation as well. But with that being said, any questions for staff at this time?
Questions for staff? Buddy? Okay. Applicant, please.
Thank you to the staff and thank you to the commission. Samir Slaitwala for Architectural and Associates, 1211 West Canary, Chandler, Arizona, 85286. As Justin kind of mentioned, we're trying to rezone from GR to C1. And this is kind of just the overview of the property. The blue star is the exit off I-10 and McCartney. Again, about 3.1 miles from the property, which is the red star. And then just for reference, the yellow star being the college itself. So this is kind of how this whole thing initially started. The owners, a few years back, purchased the avocado nursery and was running that in business. As they were operating it, they kind of learned somewhat quickly that a very successful nursery kind of lost some of its customers once the previous owners left. So they were kind of struggling for the first year, trying to just up the business. That little structure with the white circle around it, that's when they started trying to figure out how can we bring in more customers. They have a background in the Filiberto's business, and they thought, hey, we have an existing structure. Why don't we get that structure permitted? We can turn that into a drive-through. We're on a commercial property. This should be easy. Let's kind of go through this process. So we started a pre-app project to try to convert that with the idea that that would bring customers who are there for the nursery an option and a nice place to eat, sit down outside, and vice versa, somebody to come kind of separate, eat, and then be able to kind of look through the nursery. As we went through that pre-app, basically what we really discovered was that with the GR, they can't do the drive-through restaurant, and they would have to go to C1, but then with the C1, you can't do the nursery, and it's kind of a pick your poison kind of situation. So as they were kind of trying to figure out how to keep the business going, I asked the owners, you have all these customers coming in, talk to them, find out what the neighborhood needs, what's going on. So they started asking everybody. You have hundreds of people that show up over the course of a month. What are your thoughts if this was commercial? What are your thoughts if we had food here, stuff like that? And basically, overwhelmingly, everybody was very excited who they would talk to at the when they would come to visit. And they would be bringing up things anywhere from how far the closest drive-throughs could be, how far the closest grocery stores could be, not having any coffee shops. We had then a lot of students that would go through basically saying, once we're at the college, we can't do anything but drive 20 minutes away to kind of do anything. So then I kind of gave them a second homework assignment. I said, while you're talking to these people, ask them who live in the area, what are the biggest necessities? What are the biggest needs? What are the biggest demands that are missing in the area? And I told them, write down the list of the most common stuff. These were the most common things that were mentioned. Some sort of neighborhood food options, some sort of coffee shop, maybe an ice cream shop, a small retail shop. People mentioned pharmacies, mentioned dry cleaners, like kind of just normal necessities. Grocery store was mentioned a lot, and then self-storage was mentioned quite a few times. When we look back at it, we realize everything is part of C1. Take the suggestion that we first got from pre-app, convert this property to C1, and just kind of let the site develop as the demand needs it. So then we looked more further into it. Again, red star is our property, yellow for reference is the college. Typed in, what is the closest drive-through? What is the closest place to eat? We found it's the In-N-Out, 6 miles away, 12 minutes. Safeway, 8 miles away. That coffee shop, 6.5 miles away. And that's where we kind of really realized why we kept on hearing over and over again how there was something lacking in the area for everyday convenience for the neighborhood and the surrounding area. So we kind of said, okay, let's come up with the design. Now that structure of the red box on the right, that's an existing structure that from our conversations during pre-app, sounds like the structure was built previously, possibly without a permit. So that was part of the thing. We want to get that building permitted, turn that into a drive-through. Since we started this, we've gotten a lot of requests for a coffee shop from people, especially students. They don't have a place that they can kind of go and study and stuff. So we've kind of said, okay, what we really just want to focus on is just that corner, get the drive-through, get a coffee shop, and then leave everything else for the future. In doing so, we wanted to present this to you guys so that you understand what could be the whole big picture down the road. With this, just kind of pointing out, this is kind of what we kind of came up with. Again, food, retail, grocery, self-storage. This is, again, what was suggested to us by the people we were speaking to for the course over several months. And then with this design, just to kind of emphasize, we wanted to make sure, okay, we can showcase, we have adequate parking, more than that's required, even if the whole thing was developed. We have nice landscaping going all the way around the perimeter, which would help with screening, noise, just keeping the beauty within there, and also make sure that we designed in such a way that vehicular, pedestrian circulation is nice, parking is kind of more central, so it kind of is less disturbance. And we really like the idea of if that self-storage was ever put in there, that there's a nice access all the way to the back that's kind of separate from the other parts, keeping everything with emergency vehicles kind of all separated out to kind of make everything run smoothly without being any sort of nuisance. So we had our neighborhood meeting per our stipulations, and we had about 15 people come. I think it was about 10 or 11 residents, and everybody was basically opposed to it. It was kind of a shock to us because at this point, we had hundreds of people who were excited about it. The people who showed up, their biggest issues or biggest comments were what is commercial? And that once you start something with commercial, there's no end. It could be a bigger and bigger and bigger issue. So that's where we kind of try to emphasize C1 is a neighborhood commercial. It's much smaller, lower impact. This is not a place where you're going to have gas stations and lots of kind of traffic. This is just to help with the neighborhood and the surrounding areas. And we also tried to keep on pointing out that the project is showing what 10 acres could be. Our focus is a Filiberto's, maybe a Filiberto's in a coffee shop. We're very, very small right now. That's something way down the road, possibly. Other common thing that people during that meeting were talking about was how would this impact traffic? And again, it's a small neighborhood commercial area. Again, we have a very small focus right now, but even when you take into consideration that there is a college that is 0.9 miles away, the traffic that goes, because the way to get to that college, if you're going anything from the west, the south, you have to be going right past this property. Unless you're coming in from Coolidge, it's a separate thing, but there's more traffic going to that college than anything that we could ever even impact in any shape, way, or form.
That's true.
Now, what ended up happening is we basically, after we kind of formally submitted, we put up this, the sign and everything. Now we're getting floods of calls. The owner is getting calls every day. Now everybody who's calling is basically in full support. They're seeing the sign, they're trying to figure out what's going on. So like this one is just an example of one that I told the owner, hey, when you're getting calls, start jotting down the names and the numbers and figure it out. This was just people who called basically right after they saw the sign, wondering what's going on. I think this page, I think is 100% support. If not, we'll call it 99% support. Then even just the other day, they went to just the college just to kind of talk to people, just to get what their idea is. Got a page and a half of just quickly talking to people, 100% in support. All saying again, we need this. We want jobs there. We want a coffee shop. We need a place to eat. We can't continue to drive 20 miles away or 20 minutes away. So then this is kind of like a quick summary and conclusion. Like, what are the biggest negative thoughts going forward? A lot of people are like the ones who were negative, talking about the rural characteristics, and again saying that this is a small C1. The traffic, that this is supposed to be neighborhood serving, this is supposed to be low impact, this is not a major commercial project. The noise, again, we have good landscaping. It was a former nursery. We can make this thing very pretty, something that the neighborhood can basically be proud of, and allow for it to expand as needed for the surrounding areas. Lighting, we could always do full shielded downcast lighting. We don't want to create any light pollution, anything like that. And the impact is minimal, especially when we're talking about right now, as we're talking about an existing structure to be permanent and converted. So there's very minimal impact there. As far as the benefits, like it's more local services that are close, reducing the distance of driving. It can serve everybody, including those students that have been very adamant over the last few weeks in support. Job creations, tax revenues, and again, with a project like this compared to other projects, it's very predictable because it's C1. It has very specific types of uses that we're not trying to change out of that. And then that's my presentation. Happy to answer any questions and wherever we need to go.
Questions for the applicant? Anyone? Tom? Commissioner Scott?
All right, I live in Coolidge, and that road there is a corridor to Coolidge. There are several ways to go, but that's a popular one. It does move a lot of traffic, and it doesn't bunch up. You know, there's a light down by CAC, and things move along pretty good there. I was just curious, all the names, I was trying to read some of them, see if I knew them, the ones that were for it. How close do they live? Do you know where these people live?
So I know there was several. So just to give you after our first neighborhood meeting, there was one email from somebody who got the letter. So they're within 1,200 feet who was opposed to it. And I believe 3 or 4 calls that were asking who got the letter, who wanted to find out what happened. They couldn't make the meeting, they were in support of it. As far as these lists of people, I know several of them are 0.2, 0.3 miles away that when the owner talked to them, they were like, yeah, we live right down the street here, there, the other. Several of them could be students who, I don't know where they live, but they're obviously in the area on a daily basis. But so I think it's a kind of let's call it a small circle of people who had to have driven past this on a daily basis.
So what was the radius again that the letters were sent to? Was it 600 feet or
No,
1,200?
1,200 feet was sent out for the neighborhood meeting. Okay. And I believe by code it's 600 for this meeting, I think, but the county staff sent those letters out.
And so the citizens that live within the 1,200 feet had adequate contact with you? Have you talked to them?
The ones that showed up to the meeting that was one thing, and then I think there was 4 who contacted since then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was their opinion?
The ones that showed up to the meeting were all opposed.
So you had one person show up to the meeting?
15.
Oh, 15.
It was about, I think it was about 10 residents,
Okay.
10 or 11 residents, 15 total people that signed in. And I think it was 100% opposal on that, in that sense.
100%.
They did not, the people who did show up was opposing. I think there might have been one person who was just more inquisitive, but overall, I would say that that neighborhood meeting was not a positive, wasn't in support. And that's been really the only sign of not being in support so far.
So how did the conversation go with those people? Were they open to your perspective? Were you open to theirs?
So I was not, unfortunately, I was ill that day, so I was not there. The owner was there. They had their family representatives. They kind of told me everything about it. From my understanding, it wasn't a good open conversation. It was a lot of assumptions that they went into this nursery thing with the pure idea that they want to convert this into this huge thing. This is a big, huge organization that's only Virgin. These are a couple small, these are people who, like, this is not like a big entity that is like getting excited, like, oh, we're going to turn this into a commercial center. It's people who really wanted to get this nursery kind of going. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Now it's closed down, and basically are trying to recoup what they can. They know the Filiberto's business. They have that structure. They can get that one permitted pretty easily, and they can kind of let the demand go, or it kind of go where it goes. But I don't think that, I don't want to speak on their financial thing, but I don't think they would be in the position to be able to develop the entire thing in the future, anything like that. They can do a little bit right now.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? I have a couple comments myself. I'm very familiar with Coolidge. We own two businesses there. I think most of these people here, we have the car wash and the Chevron there. In the Chevron, we have a small Mexican grill that proposes a huge amount of challenges. Yes, I mean, it's not an easy business, okay? I assume they're going to be very much hands-on running this Filiberto's. It's probably the only way it's gonna work.
It's a family business. They're part of that, and that's what they do.
It's gonna have to work.
Yeah.
There's currently a Filiberto's, well, sort of under construction in Coolidge, but it's kind of really stalled. Don't know why. But that's another subject. So anyway, but I mean, it's a good location. I've driven by there hundreds of times. You got the college up there. I always kind of wondered why. We can talk about ourselves doing something about the college, but just the demographics just didn't quite show it working. You know, hopefully it will. There's a lot of traffic there, and I hope it works for them.
Yeah.
You know? Do they have a contractor? I shouldn't ask that.
No, we don't have a zoned site yet. So first things first.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Oh, wait a minute. We got to do public hearing.
Yeah.
So, okay.
If I could, for staff.
Go ahead.
For staff, are there any surrounding entitlements on any of those other properties? I know that there was some farmland that was shown, but I was just wondering.
I'm not aware of any entitlements surrounding that property or any that would be negatively impacted by this case.
Not that, no, there's nothing else. Well, not.
Mr. Chairman,
I didn't know stuff that was done in 1999 in Santan, so that's why I was just asking.
There was an entitlement. I'm familiar with the area because I live nearby, very close. There was a entitlement closer to the college, right at the corner at one time. Well, there is a like a mini mart or a little commercial facility right by the community college on Overfield and
Just north of this.
and they had entitlement to expand, but they never did. So that's the only one I'm aware of, because I researched all those along that street.
Thank you.
Quick question. You said this existing building was, how large was that?
Oh, 1,500.
Oh, 1,500.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought
I heard Justin say 15,000. I was gonna.
yeah, I heard that like, whoa, wait a minute. So, okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, being in that business for many years, there's a significant costs to convert this to a restaurant and stuff, you know, so there's, I mean, they're gonna spend some serious money to get this done. you
Yeah.
know, and that always motivates people.
Yeah.
Just try to get back stuff. So no, so anyway. So, all right, go back to the commission, or wait a minute, public hearing. Let's open up public hearing for case PZ 023-25. Anyone want to speak to this case?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
my name's David Ellis.
Okay.
I signed in already. I
Yeah,
guess.
okay.
Well, now there's another issue that I didn't even think about, and Samir just mentioned it, that we don't know what we're going to do. We just know that we're going to do the Filibertos, and we don't know what we're going to do after that. We don't know when it's going to happen, or so on and so forth. So we could be looking at a piece of property with just a Filibertos and nothing else done, and, you know, got the permits and everything to do it, but how long is that going to take to finish it? Number one, that's a big question. But I went to the meeting and I was kind of aghast about the whole thing. There wasn't really any signs to go to where we were supposed to meet, and so we ended up in this building that apparently they've been working on and remodeling. And the lady said, "Oh yeah," everybody says, "Yeah, this is a new Filibertos." And I thought to myself, wow, I don't see any permit on the outside of the building, and there was work that was recently done. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, wait a minute. I look up and there's railroad ties for the rafters, railroad ties, you know, with creosote. And for a railroad tie to be on a rafter or used as a rafter for a restaurant it's not code. And in that building prior, stored all the chemicals, the lawn chemicals, and this, that, and the other thing for the nursery. I've been going to that nursery for 40 years, ever since it was built. I know. And he and I were very close friends. And I had a difficult time getting a straight answer. And yes, there was some conflicts, and I helped resolve those conflicts. There was a couple people that were kind of getting loud and boisterous, and I said, wait a minute. It's not about people. It's, you know, let's be easy on the people part of it. You know, it's an issue thing. And so anyway, I was just kind of floored when we were all told that, yeah, this is a new Filiberto's restaurant. I was just like blown away. And so anyway, I just think that, and then other things that were put in the reports, you know, the traffic impact analysis and the figures. I mean, it just seemed like it was just pulled from the sky. I mean, those things cost, you know, $15,000-$20,000 to get one of those done. And I don't think those figures are justified. I don't think they're correct. And then when there was mentioned that there's 10 to 20 miles you have to drive in order to go somewhere.
30
to get
seconds.
something to eat. It's not, it's 6 miles. You know, it's a big difference. And there's already 2 Filibertos within 6 miles or 6.5 miles of that particular proposal. And I'm just, I suppose that if it was more clear what they were really going to do, it might make a difference. And, you know, but they've already, you know, they violated the very same document that they signed, that the document that the county has about violating, you know, codes and so on and so forth. And it was already violated by working on that building, doing the remodeling and everything. And so I just.
Time, Dave.
Okay, I'm sorry, but.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
I have some questions for him.
Dave.
Yeah.
Sir, how close do you live to the property? I assume you have a home out there?
Yes, and my wife and I.
Okay.
And we're within 1,200 feet. And that's another thing. We did not get a letter. We just got one notice for the neighborhood meeting, and we haven't received anything else after that.
So you didn't get a formal letter in the mail?
Only for the neighborhood meeting. We never got a formal letter for anything after that. And
yeah, that would have been the letter for the neighborhood meeting.
yeah, we did get that,
Okay.
1,200 foot one.
Yeah.
But then I heard that, well, we didn't have to send a letter for the 1,200 foot for this particular meeting. And I find that kind of awkward, I think.
So what was this document that was signed. What are you talking about there? That
Oh,
there was
the
a document
county
signed?
application. It says it right there. And they check marked it. It's,
I don't need to see it. I was just curious where it was. So it's the actual
that's part of
application.
the application for the zoning process. And I'm just suggesting that if there's already a problem and we haven't even really started the process, I'm just concerned that there's going to be more problems. And you know what I'm saying is that you don't start building until you get a permit. And obviously that didn't happen. And
So it was stated by the applicant that there was a business functioning there, a nursery.
no.
Yeah, there was.
Not, oh yeah, there was a nursery.
Yeah,
It
I
had
knew
been-
the owner too.
It had been
I've been out there
closed.
many
It had
times.
been closed for a while. But
I just wonder if some of those updates were done during the time that the nursery was in business.
no, it was
and not
fresh.
after.
You still need a permit no matter whether the nursery's there or not. But it was freshly done. I mean, probably within days of us being there. And, but that one, I was just concerned that, I mean, we never really got a straight answer at the meeting about anything, hardly. Anything. We never got a real straight answer about nothing. And I'm sorry that Samir wasn't there. We probably would have got more information and so on and so forth. But, because I'm sure, I can't remember, Ms. Silva probably, she's not used to having those meetings.
All right.
But,
Yes, we need to move on. Okay?
what's that?
We need to move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They've got a huge permitting process that they got to go through. I mean, that's not as Samir knows, that's not a fun process.
Chairman, I just wanted to elaborate on the permitting issue. I did receive a complaint through one of the supervisor's office, and I asked a building inspector to personally go out on the site, and they did this week. And they couldn't they went through the site and they didn't see any evidence of work that required a permit, at least, and they reported that back to me. So that doesn't mean there wasn't work done prior to that, but when they went out there this week, they did not see any evidence of work requiring a permit.
Thanks, Harvey. Anyone else to speak to this issue? Are you signed in?
I signed on
Okay.
that paper.
All right. Name and address.
Laura Ellis and 7675 West McCartney Road, Casa Grande.
Okay. 3 minutes.
Okay. I want to thank the commissioners for listening to our concerns about the change in our neighborhood. I'd like to voice my concern about the proposed rezoning. While growth and economic development are important, we must also carefully weigh the long-term consequences, such as the changes it will have on our families who live close by and the character of our neighborhood. Rezoning to commercial inevitably brings more cars, delivery trucks, service vehicles into our local streets. These roads are designed for neighborhoods, not commercial volume. Increased traffic raises real safety concerns for children walking to school, families out for bike rides, and anyone simply trying to cross the road. The quiet residential flow we enjoy will be infiltrated by congestion, noise, and risk. Perhaps most concerning is the impact on property values. Studies repeatedly show that when residential homes are placed next to commercial developments, nearby property values often decline. When commercial zoning move into residential areas, nearby homes often lose market appeal. Buyers seeking a quiet, stable neighborhood are less willing to pay full price when a business is operating next door. It's not just about disruption, but perception. Even the possibility of late night activities, increased strangers coming and going, and changing tenants creates hesitation in minds of buyers. There's also the issue of uncertainty. Once the parcel is rezoned, homeowners wonder more will follow. We will be assured with empty promises that that is not the case, yet here we are discussing the very topic. Uncertainty alone can shave thousands off of what people are willing to offer for a home, because no family wants to risk being boxed in by a business down the road. The result is not just an emotional loss for the families, but a very real financial one. For many of us, our homes are our largest investment. The council has responsibility to
30 seconds.
protect, not undermine that investment. The rezoning sets a dangerous precedent. Once we allow commercial to creep into the residential areas, it becomes far easier for the next request to be approved. Little by little, our neighborhood could erode into something unrecognizable. What was once a cohesive family community designed could gradually become a patchwork of businesses and parking lots. For these reasons, I personally reject this rezoning request, not because I oppose growth, but because I value my community and my neighbors. I value growth and strength for communities, not weaken them. Let us protect our residential areas, safeguard our property values, and preserve the sense of peace and safety that makes our neighborhood a place we're proud to call home.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Anyone else to speak to this case? Signed in? Please do. Name and address.
My name's John Morton. I'm at 8036 West Natalie Lane, Casa Grande. I live directly across the street from this. I strongly oppose this. The 15 people, I was at the meeting, the 15 people that went to that meeting all opposed this. We all oppose this on the basis of one simple thing. We want to live rural. We moved out of Casa Grande, Florence, Coolidge, whatever city that was, to escape commercial, to get away from this. If you approve this, you've opened Pandora's box. They tell you right now that they only want to build the Filibertos. That storage facility in the back, yeah, that could be anything. Okay, this is a proposal. They could propose anything and build something else because they'll get a permit because it's C1. Okay, in regards to the people that said that they wanted this stuff, that list that was put up there, we asked that question. That was my question. Who'd you talk to? I live across the street. So in regards to this landscape business that was on a special use permit, yes, we shopped over there. And when they opened this up, back up afterwards, they were wholesaling out all the landscape items. So for them to tell you that they were going to run a landscape business, why were they wholesaling out everything? I'm not buying it. Okay. Their full intent was this was to be commercial and for it to be a Filibertos and anything else they could squeeze in. In regards to that, not something we want in our neighborhood. Okay. When I asked the question, who did you ask? She came up with 5 people. 3 live out of the state. 2 live over 5 miles away. These aren't people that live in our neighborhood. All the people that showed up had not been asked. All the people that showed up had been there after they had taken over. Okay, I don't know who they're talking to. They're not talking to their neighbors. I can guarantee that. So all the people on that list that their architect, thank you for bringing that list, they all strongly opposed this. It wasn't just a little bit. It wasn't a concern. They don't want this. We don't want this in our neighborhood. We don't want this across the street. We don't want the lights. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the power supply. This is going to go on a septic system. The water in that area is run by Arizona Water. They're already having to put in a plant down the street, another pump, okay, for increased growth. And that didn't, I guarantee you, that didn't include this site. Their electrical service, the day we were there, was out. And they're going to put in a restaurant. That's more strain on the system. This is not a good idea. They're going to increase the draw on that electrical system tenfold. The people across the street will never have power. Okay? They don't have fire service.
They have to pay for it because it's rural right there down the block. For those of you who know this area, all right? But what's that gonna look like? Now you're gonna increase the strain on the fire service, and they're stretched. They're stretched clear past Coolidge. They're stretched clear to Eloy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else to speak to this case? Come up. You need to sign, did you sign in already? Please sign in, name, and give us your name and address.
Yes, my name's Gerald. I moved to Phoenix, but I purchased the land right next to his property. And to go in to see I bought the land to retire there. In about 2 years, I want to put a house. If he goes in, I'm selling. To get in and out right now, it's hard as it is. And if he would have showed up and said, I have this company, that company, this is really what we want to do, and we're going to put up a wall and keep the noise down, for us, that would be different. But he really don't have a plan. And sorry, I'm not used to speaking. But I lived in Casa Grande for 20 years. I like the views, the quietness, like the other guy spoke. This will ruin it. And there are homes out there now. It's not just vacant land. There's more and more going in. I'm totally against it. It needs to stay residential. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak to this case?
I have not signed in. I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that you
Please
had
do.
to. Right here?
Should be a sheet there.
My name is Lucas Silva. Can you hear me now? Yeah. My name is Lucas Silva. My mom is Maria Silva. She's the one listed on there. She's one of the owners of the property. I was there at the first meeting. I believe that was September 26th. So if you have any questions regarding that meeting, you're more than welcome to ask. I also worked at the nursery for, I would say, close to a year. I do want to clarify that the owners tried everything in order to have that nursery run. That was the original plan. That was their plan until they realized that the business wasn't going to be able to keep going. There were several reasons for that. One of the gentlemen that was against this project mentioned the electricity. That was one of the reasons why it didn't work. The electricity and the irrigation systems were just about done, really, and that was going to require a huge amount of investment in order to have the nursery keep going. Just for the record, also, when the owners came in and they bought the nursery, their initial intention was for the same employees that were running the business before they bought the business, the same employees that were there to keep working. Unfortunately, all but one of them quit. I think there were like 2 or 3 of them that stayed for like a week or 2 and then they quit. So they had every intention of running that business. I worked there for almost a year, and somebody else mentioned that they were wholesaling the plants and everything on that. That was this year, precisely because of the fact that the business was not going to keep going. I'm talking about the nursery. Plants were going to die anyway, so yeah, why might as well just not selling it. And by the way, they had the opportunity to sell those plants before, because a lot of people came by and realizing that the nursery was not going to keep going, they tried to lowball and all kinds of things. And believe me, the owners tried everything to have that business running. In fact, when I was there working at the nursery, I always kept asking people how would they like the idea of, having a coffee shop or a place to eat in here while they they looked at the plants or, and everybody was, I can't remember one person that was against it back then. And yes, that was the original plan, was to have both of those going. But again, the nursery, it just couldn't keep going. So that's all I want to say. If you have any questions, like I said, I was at that meeting.
Thank you.
I think somebody else mentioned that we didn't answer any questions. We answered pretty much every question we could answer. I admit we didn't have the site plan on there. I think that's one of the things they wanted, and I totally understand they wanted that. But at that meeting, I asked them, what else can we answer? I apologize, we don't have the site plan on us right now. But what else can we answer for you? What other questions would you have? There be another meeting? And nobody asked anything else. I think they were just far against it, and I totally understand that. Like I told people back in that meeting, they have every right to be against whatever we're proposing. But a couple of them were kind of rude, to be honest with you. But I don't know, it's kind of beyond the point anyway. But
All right. Thank you, sir.
but anyway, thank you.
All right. Anyone else to speak to this? All right. With that said, we're going to close the public hearing portion. PZ 023-25 rebuttal.
I just wanted to just emphasize a little bit that, like Luke said, that they always had the intention to kind of keep both going, and the idea that they came in with the sole intention to tear everything out and make this commercial property doesn't make sense, because we went through an entire pre-app thing specifically talking about how to add this as an accessory to the nursery. It's only because of the circumstances of the zoning and how the business went that we're in where we are. Additionally, like I tried to mention, that we're just trying to do what we kind of proposed a year and a half ago with the pre-app. When talking to people at the county, the staff, everything like that, it's more uninviting to say, hey, here's 10 acres and here's this one Filiberto's, and not know what could be. And it's suggested, and from one of the, that's why we showcase this is a big picture idea. Again, we could only do this small part right now, but in the future, so that the commission and everybody else can kind of get an idea of what can you turn this 10 acres into, and how can it benefit the community, the neighborhood. And as far as every other element when it comes to screening, noise, landscaping, traffic, everything like that, we still have lots of process to go through with site plan, everything like that. And we're going to address so many issues and have so many hurdles to kind of go through. But it's always going to be honestly, in the intention of trying to be part of the community. These are people who live in the area. It wouldn't work if it didn't make sense if it didn't blend in correctly. And I do understand, I do feel for people who maybe live nearby across the street who don't see it, because the change can be kind of scary and maybe not what they want to sign up for. But that's why we're trying to just go through the process to kind of see where we can be at. So I'm here to answer any questions if there's anything. So.
Okay. Any questions? If not, let's come back to the Tom.
What will be your hours of operation
For Filiberto's?
for the Filiberto's?
Can you answer better on this?
Hours of operation? What would be the hours of operation for the Filiberto's?
6 to 10.
6 to 10?
Yeah.
Okay. So nothing after 10? No activities on the property or anything like that?
No.
Also, I do.
In Coolidge, they kind of roll up the sidewalks about 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
I want to add one thing. We have one of the actual owners of the name Filiberto's here, but I know them because I work with them.
You're not.
I apologize.
Sorry, you can't come back up again and speak.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
All right, sorry. One time, one chance. That's all you get. So let's do that. Okay. Sounds good. Back to the commission. What's your motion, non-motion? So,
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
sitting with Paul has been said, and that it's a rural area.
Turn your mic on.
Well, it doesn't feel like the area is ready for commercial land. Um, Considering the amount of opposition by people who live adjacent to it. And you have to understand, this is just for the zoning. We're not entertaining what you're going to build there. You've given us an idea, but really, we could give you the C1 and you could put a for sale sign on it tomorrow. And the area just does not seem like it's ready. So with that in mind, I'll move that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward a recommendation of denial of case PZ 02325 to the Board of Supervisors.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to denial zoning for this. Let's take a roll call.
Commission member Scott? Yes would be for denial.
Yes would be for denial. Yes.
Commissioner Pranzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mooney,
Yes.
Commissioner Davila, he's on phone.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Commissioner Schneff,
Yes.
Commissioner Lizaraga,
Yes.
Commissioner Keller,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartman,
Yes.
Vice Chair is not here. Chairman Meninga?
No.
No? Okay. Motion passes. So the recommendation would be for denial to the Board of Supervisors.
And Chair, just so the public knows that it still goes to the Board of Supervisors.
Yes, I was going to say that too. So you can, go put your case to the Board of Supervisors at this point. And we don't know what they're going to do. Okay, let's see here. Call to the commission.
That was fine.
Manager's report. Okay. How about manager's report? You have anything, Harvey?
I know it's getting close to lunch hour. You probably want to leave, go to lunch. No, I just want to recognize Justin. Unfortunately, Justin, family issue. He's moving back to Georgia, and today is Justin's last day with the department. So we're really going to miss him. He's a Georgia Bulldog, and he's going back to his to be with his Bulldogs, I guess, and the University of Georgia football team. So, but he's been a pleasure to work with, and we'll miss him. Thank you for your service, Justin. As I indicated, we've had some recent turnover. Corey, as a planning technician, has left. We do have some interviews coming up, so there's just some change, some transition we're going through right now. So we're struggling to get things. Our workload is continues to be pretty intense. I don't know. I just saw the last month's report from the Home Builders Association, and in terms of permitting, which is usually an indication of activity, we were the highest among all the valley communities,
Really?
above Phoenix so far this year. Through the end of last month, the county issued over 2,800 new single-family permits, and I think Phoenix was like 2,300, and the rest of the valley, as well as we're talking Tucson and the rest of the state, they're far behind us. So we're growing, and we're just not don't have the staff capacity right at this point to keep up with things. But so I know that's not a good message, but hopefully things will slow down during the holidays, and we're able to staff up and get some new folks in. But thank you.
for your patience, and I apologize for the snafu on the agenda. Unfortunately, I was out of the country. Sangita was on the East Coast, so it was not a good time for us. So otherwise, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address those.
I guess there's no more vacations.
That's, it appears that way. Yes. I don't think I can
I'm just
afford to take off anymore. I've come to that conclusion, and it's also very difficult once you come back from vacation.
Well, of course.
2 weeks.
I've always wondered whether the vacation was worth the trouble once I got back.
And
So,
I second that motion.
it's been around. Any other questions?
I better not.
Well, you know, it's interesting here. We used to see subdivisions. So, I mean, we approved 1,000 lots a month in Santan Valley, and that has slowed down due to economic conditions. I still follow the permit numbers and stuff, and they are way down, you know, but I think, I think as I watch Fox Business and some of the stuff, we're, with the new tax changes and stuff coming up, we're getting ready to pretty much explode here. Looks to me like now we got to get some interest rates down, and that's happening, gonna happen, you know. Drive around Casa Grande, man, there's so many jobs and plants going up there. It makes me a little crazy to see all the apartments go up, but they're gonna fill all those, you know, and that's gonna flow out into housing and stuff like that, you know. That's coming, and you know, you guys need to keep, you know, all us private guys, when we need more people, we hire people and we ramp up. The last one to always ramp up is the government. So, and you know that, Harvey, you worked in that for many years, you know, but so, you know, anyway, so, and then let's see, call to the commission. Anyone got anything? Commissioner Mooney.
I know you had a snafu and everything, but the minutes still aren't on here.
Yeah.
And as for our last agenda, that was a 2-day, and I know you're short-staffed. I hope that there's a way you can look at the agenda, excuse me, and make sure that it doesn't turn into that again. I know, I mean, we have a great commission here that asks lots of questions, and you know, certain cases are going to have that. Not saying to make today's a great day to get out of here, right? Have lunch and go home. And it doesn't have to be that either, but I just know that sometimes they get overloaded and all of this, and the room is packed and we're here. You know, last time it was till 7:30 and then back the next, you know, when it was rescheduled for the balance. And with that being said, I don't know if it's possible, legally, if it's possible to have some of those easier cases that, you know, or I'll give, for instance, like there was a racetrack the last time we had a 2-day agenda. That was like 15 minutes, and they were the last case on the second day at 2:30. I don't know if it's possible or if you have a criteria in the order they come in. So that would just be a request. And if it can't be, I just thought I would throw that out there. But those are my 2 concerns. I don't know how everybody else feels, but sometimes that lone person is just sitting there until the very end. So, but anyway, that's it. Thank you, sir.
You know, the only other comment I would make, and to Mayor Sneff, is you can't get that done quick enough in Santan Valley, you know, just so you can control your own destiny out there. And that'll help this commission in cases too, because we hear a lot of cases out of Santan Valley, you know, we're gonna hear some others. So, and I know there's a time issue there, so.
We're just working on staff right now.
Right, I
We'll put
understand.
that out there.
I understand. So, okay, any others call to the commission? All right, how about, Commissioner Hartman?
Yeah, I have a request, with the permission of the chair. Can you give us in the future some parameters on what our guidelines are that we're supposed to stay under? Like, you know, as far as I understand, we deal with land use policy, consistency with comprehensive plan, protecting the public while respecting property rights, and ensuring the decision we make has a clear and factual basis. You know, at times I feel we get into the weeds, and, you know, my good friend, Commissioner Scott, may be in the right, but he drills down pretty good, and I learn a lot from it. But I wonder, for our sake, if we're doing the right thing there. And a lot of times I look to you and council to see if, you know, we're staying in the right way. I know in the past, you know, Gilbert used to try to rein us in, and maybe Brent did too. And maybe we're in a kinder, gentler time now, but I personally, because I wonder if I should be talking more, and my good friend Commissioner Scott should be talking less. But I can get away with this because I've known him for my whole life. But that's just kind of my thoughts, Chairman.
No, I agree. I mean, one of my jobs as chairman to kind of keep pushing this along sometimes, and maybe I overstep a little bit. We get these huge agendas in and keep pushing along, and we kind of did that a year or so ago. But yeah, sometimes we do get too deep in the weeds. I agree with that. Ours is land use, basically, as I've learned over the years, and that other people have rights. But we have questions, and those questions come up, and most of us, we benefit from that. We really do. You wanna know- Yeah.
Chairman, if I could, actually, we have observed this, that Chairman Hartman rightly pointed out that you often get in the weeds, and there's some areas that you probably shouldn't get into, that you get into. And we were talking, and we've talked to staff, and we were planning, in I think January, we're planning on bringing you to a work session, and we want to talk about things like that, parameters, what you should and shouldn't do, and what areas should. And so we already thought about that, and we do want to put it in a more organized session to talk about those things.
Good idea.
Rather than, I understand it. You have a bunch of folks here and they bring up issues, and it raises a lot of concerns, or you want to delve into more of the details, which I understand, and I don't want to cut you off. I just don't feel that's good. But the chairman can at times, if you're outside the open meetings law, that's where we need to really focus on staying on task and not delving into areas. The competition on the RV that was generated by the gentleman because of competition. But we went, that was the concern, but it wasn't the land. The land use was the issue, regardless whether the church is operating or, Joe Smith is operating. It's the land use, and it fit the area, and that's what we were focused on.
It's interesting. We see some really interesting cases here because of growth. This church has been out there for a long time, and I don't feel like they ever did anything wrong, out there. I mean, they kind of did, and the same thing with the Filibertos. It's these areas have grown now. Thunderbird Farms. I mean, they're getting all these houses out there. I mean, they're just grown. So we're seeing really different issues, a little more challenging to handle, actually. And I think everybody kind of agrees on that a little bit. I mean, we are, like I said, for years here, we did subdivisions and SUPs and boom, 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 we were done, which with subdivisions still go through because they do a massive amount of work on these subdivisions to get them through here, and they look good. So, but anyway, is lunch here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Move to adjourn. Everybody in favor? Aye.
So let me get this straight. Personal stays out of it?
It should. It should.